Chapter 783. On the second day, Lin Xian grasped the basics of changing soul fluctuations. No one below the fifth level of the martial honor realm could detect it. It would be more difficult to cultivate further down the path. It would require time to accumulate. Lin Xian was not in a hurry. This was enough for him. Therefore, he got up and left the cultivation room. When he came out, he immediately realized that the martial artists in the passageway were looking at him differently. Their expressions were filled with shock and astonishment. What happened? He found someone and asked, "You offended the Chow family yesterday, and they're here for revenge today. They thought you were down there and surrounded the cultivation room that you stole." "Chow family? Humph!" Lin Xian snorted and quickly walked down. In the cultivation room on the third floor, Yu Fei looked miserable. He could not cultivate at all and could only walk around in circles anxiously. This was because the door of the cultivation room had been mercilessly bombarded. Every time it was hit, it would emit an earth-shattering sound. Under such circumstances, no cultivator could cultivate. Moreover, through the hole in the door, he saw that it was the young man who was beaten up yesterday. It was obvious that the Chow family was here. He could only wait for Lin Xian to come out first. Boom. However, in the next moment, the door of the cultivation room was blasted open. A few martial artists rushed in and surrounded Yu Fei. It's not that guy." Zhang Tao was stunned. "Why, he's not the arrogant guy you were talking about." An arrogant young man asked coldly. He was wearing a chow-colored robe and was only 15 or 16 years old. He had an arrogant expression and looked down on everyone. "It's not that guy, but he should be that guy's accomplice." Zhang Tao said, "I saw them together yesterday. I think that guy went to another cultivation room. However, we can wait for him here. I'm sure he'll show up." Zhang Tao grinned hideously. "Young Master Chow, why don't we teach this guy a lesson and let him know how powerful you are? First break his limbs, then peel off his flesh piece by piece." Chow Tong said indifferently. He looked very indifferent. It seemed that he had done this many times. A group of people had already gathered outside. When they heard this, they shook their heads and sighed. "This guy is really unlucky. He dared to offend the Chow clan." "That's right. The Chow clan is one of the most powerful clans in Wind-Seeking City. Didn't these people ask around before?" "This kid is just an accomplice. I don't know where the main culprit went. Maybe he ran away a long time ago." A group of people discussed in low voices. Inside the training room, two robust martial artists grinned as they walked forward. One of them held a long blue staff while the other held a long saber. The two of them blocked off Yu Fei's path. "I'll kill you all." Yu Fei shouted angrily, wanting to break out of the encirclement. Boom. Spiritual energy exploded, filling the surroundings with a terrifying aura. He'd consumed a lot of spirit herbs in the Chow clan recently, so his cultivation had reached the half-step exalt realm. Thus, his attack was extremely imposing. However, the two martial artists on the other side were even stronger. The two of them attacked and interrupted Yu Fei's attack. At the same time, they sent him flying with a strike of their staff. Puff! Yu Fei vomited blood and was immediately seriously injured. His entire body swayed uncontrollably. "Kid, if you want to blame someone, blame your accomplice. How dare he offend young Master Chow?" Zhang Tao grinned. It's a pity for you. Maybe that kid has already run away and left you as a scapegoat." "Ha ha, ha ha." Yu Fei's mouth was full of blood, but he laughed loudly. "Brother Shen will help me pay you back 10 times for the injuries you've inflicted on me. Even if you kill me, Brother Shen will help me take revenge." "Brother Shen, you're courting death. The two of you, hurry up and attack. I want him to suffer a fate worse than death." Chow Tong shouted coldly. Whoosh. Buzz. Immediately, the two martial artists attacked, and a terrifying attack surged towards Yu Fei. "Even if I die, I'll drag you down with me," Yu Fei shouted angrily, wanting to fight with his life on the line. "Brother Xian, I'll follow you in the next life." Yu Fei's eyes were red and cracked. He wanted to self-destruct his spirit energy and create an explosion to kill everyone. However, in the next moment, a palm landed on his shoulder and immediately suppressed the rampaging spirit energy in his body. Not only that, the aura was extremely cool and quickly healed the injuries in his body. Boom! The energy exploded, terrifying and terrifying, drowning the area in front of him. Humph! This is the result of provoking young Master Chow. Zhang Tao looked forward with a sneer. The martial artists outside were also silent. Suddenly, the void fluctuated, and the violent energy ball seemed to have been split apart by something, instantly turning into countless fragments. Following that, a gust of wind blew over and blew everything away. Everyone was puzzled and looked over. Even Chow Tong frowned. He did not understand what was going on. He saw a young man in blue standing in front of Yu Fei. He had an extraordinary bearing, but his expression was abnormally cold. "It's you?" Zhang Tao's expression changed, and then he laughed sinisterly. "Young Master Chow, he's the brat who stole the cultivation room. It's him?" Chow Tong's face suddenly darkened, and a thick, murderous intent appeared in his eyes. "Brat, you've got guts. You actually dared to steal my cultivation room. Now kneel down and cripple your arms. Crawl under my pants, and I might spare your life. Otherwise, both of you will experience what it means to live a life worse than death. Recuperate well. I'll avenge you," Lin Xian said to Yu Fei, and then took out a bottle of elixir. "Brother Xian," Yu Fei was excited. He nodded and stood to the side, pouring out the elixir and swallowing it. Lin Xian turned his head and looked at Chow Tong and the others in front of him. He said in a deep voice, "Now cripple your arms and kneel down to my brother. I'll give you a quick death. Otherwise, you'll know what it means to live a life worse than death." Lin Xian's voice was not loud, but it clearly spread in all directions. The murderous intent in his voice made many people's hearts tremble, especially the martial artists outside. Their faces were filled with astonishment. "This brat is so arrogant." Chow Tong, Zhang Tao, and the others laughed as if they had heard the funniest joke. "What did he say? He wants me to apologize?" Chow Tong's face was full of disdain. Zhang Tao also sneered, his eyes full of sarcasm. "Brat, you dare to threaten young Master Chow. No one in Wind-Seeking City can save you. Just wait for your death." The 6 martial artists that Chow Tong brought also sneered. "Men, capture the 2 of them. I want to torture them to death bit by bit." Chow Tong was like a little devil. Although he was small, his heart was very vicious. "Looks like you guys don't know how to repent." Lin Xian sighed. "If that's the case, then die. You're courting death." In front, 2 martial artists sneered and quickly attacked. A big stick pressed down like a heavenly pillar. It was as heavy as 10,000 pounds, pressing down on Lin Xian. On the other hand, a saber light flashed like a purple lightning, quickly slashing towards Lin Xian. When the 2 of them joined forces, their power was comparable to a venerable. Faced with such a terrifying attack, the cultivators outside cried out in shock. However, Lin Xian did not dodge at all. Chapter 784. However, countless blood-colored auras gushed out from his surroundings like a sea of blood surging in the air. Boom! Suddenly, 2 bloody hands reached out from the sea of blood. Like dragons, they instantly shattered the staff and saber radiance in the sky. Then they quickly enveloped the 2 martial artists. Miserable cries rang out, causing one's hair to stand on end and their scalps to go numb. In the next moment, the 2 bloody hands let go and retreated into the sea of blood. and at the place where the two martial artists originally stood, two piles of white bones appeared. There was not a single human figure. Dead, dead. Everyone was shocked and speechless. This method was too terrifying. Zhang Tao was also shocked. He knew that Lin Xian was powerful, so he asked Qiao Tong to bring 6 martial artists. Among the 6 martial artists, 4 of them were half-step martial artists, and the other 2 were first-level honorable realm. With such a lineup, they would be safe in Wind-Seeking City. With the Qiao family status, no one would dare to provoke them. However, they did not expect Lin Xian to kill the 2 of them in an instant. His method was decisive and ruthless. "You dare to kill my men?" Qiao Tong was furious. As the young master of the Qiao family, he had always been the one bullying others. No one dared to bully him, let alone kill his men. Therefore, Qiao Tong was furious this time. "Kill him for me," he shouted angrily. Only by killing the other party could he calm down. "Young master, let me do it," said an old man beside him. He was in a red robe and had little hair. His face was skinny and he looked very old. However, his eyes were extremely bright, like the stars in the sky. Not only that, the old man had a terrifying aura. It was the aura of an honorable realm. The old man in the red robe was a first-level honorable realm and was Qiao Tong's bodyguard. "Yes, be ruthless and kill him," Qiao Tong said. The death of the 2 half-step honorables meant that Lin Xian's strength was far above that of a half-step honorable realm. Therefore, they could only send a real honorable realm expert. They did not feel the aura of an honorable realm expert from Lin Xian, so they thought that Lin Xian was not an honorable realm expert. After receiving the order, the red-robed elder stepped out and coldly said, "Aunt, I'll make you kneel in front of the young master and die." He roared angrily and punched out. Boom! It was as if a great earthquake had occurred. The entire cultivation pagoda was shaking. That fist was like a ferocious tiger, firm and powerful. This punch had a tremendous momentum, directly making the weaker martial artists lie flat on the ground. Countless people were horrified, not daring to imagine the power of this fist. Qiao Tong, Zhang Tao, and the others had cold smiles on their faces. It was as if they could already see the scene of the other party being beaten up. Lin Xian sneered disdainfully. A first-level venerable realm cultivator was even worse than an ant in front of him. He still didn't move. The sea of blood behind him churned and condensed into a blood-colored longsword. It was incomparably scarlet and emitted a demonic light. The sword light flashed like a blood-red lightning, instantly striking out. The air split apart as killing intent filled the air, causing everyone to tremble. Puff! The red-robed old man's arm was chopped off, turning into white bones in the air. Then the blood-red sword flashed again and cut off his legs. The red-robed elder's body fell to the ground, as if he was kneeling. "You must die kneeling in front of my brother." Lin Xian's voice was cold and filled with killing intent. If he had come a step later, Yu Fei might have died by now. Since the other party was so arrogant and domineering and didn't care about any rules, there was nothing for him to worry about. The blood-red long sword pierced through the red-robed elder's body and pierced his heart, taking away all his vitality and blood. The red-robed elder's body trembled, and his face was filled with fear. He regretted it now. Why didn't he see the other party's strength clearly? Why did he force himself to stand up? However, he didn't have the chance to regret it. Under the effect of the blood-red longsword, he turned into a pool of blood. "What?" Zhang Tao screamed with a face full of fear. Qiao Tong's expression also changed drastically, and he was stunned on the spot. His personal bodyguard, the red-robed elder, was a venerable, yet he was killed in one move. This was probably even more fantastical than a dream. They were not the only ones. Everyone was stunned, as if they had seen a ghost. Impossible. This was absolutely impossible. Chow Tong screamed with a terrified expression. You dare to kill him? You're dead meat. Zhang Tao's face was also filled with fear, and his body kept trembling. Lin Xian's strength was beyond their expectations. They definitely couldn't let such an enemy live. However, the other elder didn't think so. He hurriedly stepped forward and said, "Young master, I think there's been a misunderstanding. We were wrong this time. I'll compensate you with 100,000 spirit stones and won't pursue the matter of you killing him. Let's just let this matter pass. How about that?" He naturally didn't say that to reconcile, but to leave his place as soon as possible. The other party was too terrifying. If they stayed here, they would be in great danger. His responsibility was to protect the young master, so he had to give in at this critical moment. Hearing that, Chow Tong's heart pounded wildly. He didn't want to stay here any longer. The purple-robed elder took a deep breath and threw out a storage ring. Ding-dang! Lin Xian didn't move at all. The storage ring fell to the ground. "You brought people to kill us, but now that you realize that you can't kill us, you want to leave. Let me ask you, is there such a simple thing in the world?" Lin Xian sneered. "I'll give you 1,000,000 spirit stones to kill you once. I'll stop regardless of whether I succeed or not. How about that?" Seeing the other party's expression, he sneered. "Since you know that it's impossible, you should know how I feel. Today, none of you will be able to leave. Those who bully my brother, die." Hearing that, everyone's hearts pounded wildly. This young man was so domineering. Although his logic was right, he was the first person who dared to face the Chow family like that. Chow Tong and the others had ugly expressions and were trembling. Lin Xian had killed a first-rank honorable realm in one move, which meant that his strength was extremely terrifying. He definitely surpassed a first-rank honorable realm. The most powerful martial artist here was the purple-robed elder, who was much stronger than the red-robed elder. However, he had no confidence in defeating Lin Xian. Hearing Lin Xian's words, the purple-robed elder's face darkened. He snorted coldly, and his attitude became firm again. "This is Wind-Seeking City, and the Chow family is a powerful force in Wind-Seeking City. You better think about the consequences if you take action here. Although you feel good now, I'm afraid that there will be no place for you in the city. At that time, you will end up in a worse state. Young man, don't do anything wrong." Hearing that, Lin Xian smirked and said coldly, "You still dare to threaten me? I've said that if you cripple your arms and kneel before my brother and apologize, I'll give you a quick death. Unfortunately, you have no choice. Don't blame me." Lin Xian said coldly, and the aura on his body became stronger. Boom! The elder opposite him suddenly exploded, and a goshawk appeared behind him. It emitted a purple light like a ferocious beast. It spread its wings and filled the entire space. A strong and violent force shrouded the area. Swoosh! Without saying a word, the goshawk quickly pounced on Lin Xian. Chapter 785. The purple goshawk was the purple-clothed old man's martial soul. It was powerful and sharp like an ancient ferocious beast as it pounced towards Lin Xian. He had used all his strength in this attack. His goal was to catch Lin Xian off guard and kill him quickly. A purple afterimage floated past and arrived before Lin Xian in an instant. Lin Xian narrowed his eyes, and a wisp of disdain appeared on his lips. Martial soul? The sea of blood behind him floated and formed a blood-colored giant that stood tall and roared furiously at the sky. His body was like a mountain, and his muscles were like dragons. A pair of huge hands reached out and instantly grabbed the purple goshawk. Swoosh! The purple goshawk screeched, and purple chi surged on its body like demonic clouds. It emitted a terrifying force, but it couldn't escape at all. Spurt! The blood-colored giant tore the purple goshawk into two. Behind him, the purple-clothed old man trembled and spat out a mouthful of blood. His eyes were filled with shock. He hadn't expected the young man before him to be so terrifying. His full-strength attack was actually useless. It seemed like the Chow clan had caused a huge problem this time. If they couldn't deal with it properly, they would probably be in great danger. He was filled with regret when he thought of this. Chow Tong's face was filled with terror when he saw the purple-clothed old man fail. He said hatefully, "You're finished. How dare you hurt my guard? When I return home, I'll personally lead experts to kill you." "Do you think I'll let you go?" Lin Xian sneered. "What? You dare to touch me?" Chow Tong screamed. "The Chow clan will tear you into pieces if you dare to touch me." The purple-clothed old man stood up with difficulty and stood in front of Chow Tong with a vigilant expression. "You'll have to go through me if you want to touch the young master." Spurt! Before he could finish speaking, a blood-colored sword chi shot out and pierced a hole in him. In an instant, the purple-clothed old man turned into a dried corpse and fell to the ground. The remaining cultivators cried out in terror and ran in all directions. Spurt! Spurt! The sea of blood surged and transformed into countless blood-colored pythons that killed the remaining 2 half-step Exalt Realm cultivators. Then Lin Xian's gaze turned and stared at Zhang Tao. "You were the one who found these people, weren't you?" Lin Xian said in a deep voice. "If it weren't for you, these people wouldn't have died so quickly." "No, don't kill me." Zhang Tao was so scared that he peed his pants. He knelt on the ground and kept kowtowing. "I beg you, please let me go. I'll do anything you want." "Anything?" Lin Xian smiled. Hearing this, Zhang Tao became spirited. He hurriedly raised his head and said quickly, "Yes, I'll do anything, as long as you let me go." This was his only chance to survive, and he didn't want to let it go. Even if he had to cripple his own arms, he would accept it. "All right then, kill him, and I'll let you go." Lin Xian pointed at Chow Tong and said indifferently, "What?" Zhang Tao was stunned. He didn't expect Lin Xian to make such a request. The martial artists outside were even more shocked. They had never imagined that this youth in front of them would actually want to kill a Chow family disciple. Was he not afraid of the Chow family's revenge? Chow Tong's expression became very ugly. He quickly retreated and stared at Lin Xian, his eyes full of viciousness. "If you dare to kill me, you'll die a horrible death." Zhang Tao also had a look of hesitation, standing there in a daze. This problem was too difficult for him. If he didn't make a move, Lin Xian would probably kill him immediately. On this point, he did not doubt at all, because the previous battle let him know that this youth in front of him was absolutely a decisive person. However, if he killed Chow Tong, then there would be no place for him in Wind-Seeking City. It might not even be long before he would be captured by the Chow family. At that time, his outcome would be even worse. Whether he made a move or not, he would die either way. "Why, don't dare?" Lin Xian smiled coldly. "This is your last chance to live." Zhang Tao's expression flickered. He clenched his fists and finally raised his head abruptly. "Is what you said true? You'll really let me go?" "Of course, as long as you dare to make a move," Lin Xian said indifferently. "Okay." Zhang Tao stood up, pulled out a sharp dagger, and looked at Chow Tong. If he didn't kill him, he would die immediately. If he killed him, he would still have a chance to escape. After weighing the 2 options, Zhang Tao decided to take a risk. He planned to kill Chow Tong and leave Wind-Seeking City immediately, never to return in this lifetime. Seeing Zhang Tao's decision, Chow Tong's expression turned ugly. He screamed, "Zhang Tao, if you dare to make a move on me, you're dead. You dog, the Chow family won't let you go. Kiki, I've long found you an eyesore. If you weren't the young master of the Chow family, I wouldn't have bothered with you. You're just a kid. How dare you order me around? Go to hell." Since he had decided to kill, Zhang Tao simply went crazy. He laughed sinisterly and pounced on Qiao Tong. The dagger in his hand bloomed with a terrifying light. Qiao Tong was so scared that his face turned pale. He was just a young man, his cultivation was not strong at all. Usually, he relied on his family's status to bully others. Now his bodyguard was dead. He had no way to resist at all. The crowd was also terrified. They did not expect things to develop to this stage. However, at this moment, a cold light flashed. It was like a blue ice thread, instantly piercing into the back of Zhang Tao's head. Buzz! Zhang Tao died. In an instant, his body quickly froze and turned into an ice sculpture. At this moment, Zhang Tao was less than a foot away from Qiao Tong. He would have succeeded if he was a step late. Seeing Zhang Tao dead, Qiao Tong heaved a sigh of relief. His eyes were filled with hostility. He raised his hand and slammed it on the ice sculpture, shattering it. Ka, ka, ka. The human-shaped ice sculpture shattered into pieces. Zhang Tao's body also shattered into countless pieces. The crowd gasped and retreated, looking at the cultivation room in horror. At this moment, a figure appeared in the cultivation room and stood in the middle. It was a tall woman in a blue dress. She was extremely sexy. She was holding a frost flower in her hand and looked coldly at Lin Xian. You can't touch the people of the Qiao family. Her voice was cold, like an icy wind blowing, causing people to shiver. You're from the Qiao family? Lin Xian looked at the figure in front of him and frowned. Isn't it important? You've killed enough people. It's time to stop. The woman shook her head slightly. Sister Lingsu, kill him. You must kill him. When Qiao Tong saw the woman, he became excited again and became extremely arrogant. He killed my servant and wants my life. I must kill him. Sister Lingsu, you crippled his martial arts. I want to treat him like a dog and keep him by my side. I want him to suffer inhumane torture every day. Qiao Tong said viciously, gritting his teeth. You heard it too. Do you think I'll let him go? Lin Xian's face was cold, and there was a strong murderous aura around him. He's just a child who doesn't know any better. Why don't you stop now? The woman in the blue dress said. You can vent your anger and save your life. This is the wise choice. However, the ice-cold aura on her face became even more serious. It was as if she had turned into an iceberg that could freeze everything at any time. Chapter 786. Although she did not say it explicitly, the warning in her words was obvious. If it were anyone else, they would have stopped. After all, the woman in front of them was very powerful. Her aura was far stronger than the two old men from before. However, the person they offended this time was Lin Xian, so things would not end so easily. What if I say no? Lin Xian said indifferently. He was not afraid of the woman in blue. That's a good suggestion. Since you don't want to listen, don't blame me for making a move. The woman in blue's face darkened, and her aura overflowed. Suddenly, snowflakes floated in the air. The entire cultivation room seemed to have turned into a world of ice and snow. As expected of an expert from the Lung family, her aura is indeed powerful. It seems that Qiao Tong's life is saved with Lung Su around. Outside, the crowd was discussing, I'll give you one more chance. Leave now and you'll have a chance to live. Lung Su's voice was cold. You didn't make a move because you're not confident. You can't see my cultivation, and you don't know what realm I'm in. Am I right? Lin Xian sneered. Otherwise, with your domineering personality, you would have made a move long ago. Since you don't dare to make a move, why do you have to be so dignified? How pathetic. There's one more thing. If I want to kill someone, even the gods can't stop me. You're too arrogant. It's easy for me to kill you. Lung Su's face darkened, and she quickly made a move. With a wave of her palm, a terrifying cold aura surged, turning into endless ice and frost. Boom. The ice crystal palm was like an ice mountain, quickly grabbing forward and enveloping Lin Xian. Humph! Lin Xian snorted and took a step forward. Suddenly, his aura changed drastically. Endless blood-red sword chi surged, and a monstrous killing intent surged out, sweeping in all directions as if it was going to tear the sky apart. The killing intent was so dense that it formed into a killing sword that swept in all directions. Boom, boom, boom. Countless sword chi slashed on the ice crystal palm, shattering it. Even more killing intent surged to the back and enveloped Chao Tong. No, you dare to touch me? Sister Ling Su, save me. Chao Tong roared with unwillingness and fear. In an instant, he was pierced by countless strands of killing intent. You're courting death. Lung Su's expression changed. She waved her jade-like hands, shooting out numerous ice crystals in an attempt to save Chao Tong. However, he still underestimated Lin Xian's murderous aura. Originally, Lin Xian possessed the slaughter sword, and his killing intent was already very strong. Now that he had obtained Chao's inheritance, the slaughter blood sword, even a second-rank honorable would not be able to withstand the terrifying killing intent, let alone Chao Tong. In an instant, Chao Tong's heart was pierced by 10,000 swords, nailing him to the wall. He was deader than dead. This vicious youth had finally paid the price for his arrogant and vicious actions. If you kill him, you'll die too. Lung Su's beautiful face turned incomparably cold. She didn't expect the other party to be so decisive and ruthless, directly ignoring her and the Chao clan's threat. This kind of person could not be allowed to live. Scram. Don't force me to make a move. Lin Xian snorted coldly, his eyes surging with killing intent. Humph, I'll kill you today and bring you back to the Chao clan as a sacrifice to Chao Tong. Lung Su had no intention of retreating. Looks like you're also a dog of the Chao clan. Since that's the case, stay here. Lin Xian snorted coldly, his body surging with murderous aura. It was monstrous, like a sea of blood, directly shattering the void. Slash. A blood-red sword slashed down from the sky, sharp to the extreme. Even a second-rank honorable would die from this attack. Lung Su was not a second-rank honorable, so she couldn't withstand such a terrifying attack. Finally, a trace of fear appeared in her eyes. The youth in front of her was too strong, far from someone she could fight against. Go. Without hesitation, she turned into a cold ray of light and quickly rushed out. Don't you think it's too late to leave now? Lin Xian sneered and slashed down with the blood-red sword in his hand. Poof! Blood splattered, and Lung Su was cut in half. The crowd was stunned, dumbfounded as they looked at the corpse on the ground, trembling. This was too shocking, too terrifying. He killed without hesitation, not showing any mercy to such a beautiful woman. After today, the Chao clan and the Lung clan would be completely enraged. Since their disciples were killed here, the Chao clan and the Lung clan, as the major forces in the city, would definitely not let the matter rest. Since this youth was so strong, his identity must be extraordinary. If they didn't handle this well, there would be a huge battle. It seemed like the eve of the Wanxiang auction was full of troubles. After keeping the storage rings of these people, Lin Xian left with Yu Fei. Brother Xian, we've killed so many people, I'm afraid they won't let this go, right? Yu Fei said worriedly. After all, the other party was from a major clan, and they had great influence here. It's fine. Find a place to recuperate for the next few days. I'll go out and take a look. Lin Xian said, I've learned the heaven-changing technique. No one below the 5th rank honorable realm can see through my disguise. It was because of this magical technique that Lin Xian had nothing to worry about. After killing people, he could change his appearance and aura, and the other party wouldn't be able to find him. Lin Xian, used the items in the storage rings of those people, and paid a high price to find a safe place in the city. The two of them stayed there temporarily. However, the atmosphere on the other side was completely different. After the Chow clan learned that Chow Tong had been killed, they were in an uproar. They roared madly and searched everywhere for the culprit. Someone dared to kill people in the city, and a member of the Wang clan. This was a blatant provocation. Even the other major clans in the city didn't dare to do so, but a kid who came out of nowhere dared to challenge the Wang clan. He was courting death. Soon, the Wang clan gave the order to search the entire city. On the other side, the Lung clan also gave the order to capture the culprit. Immediately, the entire wind-seeking city was in a state of chaos, and everyone was in danger. Meanwhile, the person involved, Lin Xian, was resting in a quiet courtyard. After learning about the Wang clan and the Lung clan, he sneered and ignored them. No matter how strong they were, they couldn't find this place. Moreover, even if they found him, he was confident that he could leave. He still had many trump cards in his hand, so he wasn't afraid of the Wang clan. The Wang clan and the Lung clan searched for the culprit, but they couldn't find him. They were furious, but they didn't give up. Instead, they offered attractive conditions and put out wanted posters in the city. 10 million spiritual stones for the culprit. Immediately, many martial artists were tempted and started to take action. However, Lin Xian seemed to have disappeared, and no one could find him. After 3 days, Lin Xian would definitely go out and take a look. He let Yu Fei stay here to recuperate and set up a defensive array. Then he used the heaven-changing technique and turned into a young scholar. With a smile, Lin Xian appeared in the wind-seeking city again. The wind-seeking city was even more lively now, and more martial artists were gathering here. Some experts and geniuses also appeared frequently, all for the Wanxiang auction. Lin Xian was wearing a white robe. His face was handsome, and he held a folding fan in his hand. He looked like a handsome scholar as he walked toward the bustling city. Chapter 787. Wind-seeking city was bustling with activity. It was different from the sand region. There was no arena, but there was a coliseum. It was a more exciting and bloody battle. Beasts fought against beasts. That battle was more tragic than a martial arts battle. Death was common. Perhaps only in the blood region would there be such exciting things. In the south of the city, there was a majestic building complex. That was the Colosseum. There were many cages on both sides of the wide street. There were all kinds of beasts in the cages. The cages were made of star-patterned steel. The beasts couldn't break through them at all. Moreover, these Colosseum were backed by powerful experts and mysterious beast tamers. They could control any situation. The huge cage was 10 meters tall. There was a divine wolf in it. It was snow white and had a pair of wings on its back. It stared at the passers-by with ferocious eyes. Beside it was a black rat. It was as big as a mountain. Its breath carried a strong demonic aura. The demonic beasts in this place were extremely powerful. I haven't eaten wild meat in a long time. I wonder how the meat is? A strange voice suddenly sounded. Suddenly, the whole street quieted down. Many people turned their heads, looking for the strong man who dared to say such arrogant words. Soon, they locked onto a handsome young scholar. They looked at him carefully and shook their heads. No matter how they looked at him, he didn't look like a strong man. It was impossible for him to say such words. No one paid attention to him. After a few jeers, the young scholar blinked and said, "If you don't behave, I'll sell you." This young scholar was Lin Xian in disguise. The arrogant voice from before was the work of the Crimson Dragon. After changing his appearance, Lin Xian came to the place where the beasts were fighting. There were many onlookers in front of him. They cheered from time to time. Lin Xian was curious, so he walked over to take a look. He saw two mutated beasts fighting in the huge cage before him. One of them was a black tiger with white tiger stripes all over its body. It was very strange and mysterious. His opponent was a 3-meter-tall divine condor. Its golden feathers were like golden steel and emitted a dazzling light. Whoosh! The divine condor flew into the air like a ball of golden flames as it charged towards the black tiger. Roar! The black tiger was enraged. It let out a roar and leaped into the sky. Its sharp claws were like swords and sabers that tore through the void. Boom! Clang! Bang! In the blink of an eye, the two beasts collided dozens of times. Every time they collided, it was as if lightning had struck each other. The golden divine eagle let out a cry, like a bolt of golden lightning. It quickly grabbed at the head of the black tiger below, wanting to crush it. Ka, ka, ka. This attack was narrowly dodged by Black Tiger. However, the hard ground was shattered and countless terrifying cracks appeared. The center had been reduced to dust. The strength of the two exotic beasts drew cheers from the crowd. Countless people were cheering, and the atmosphere was lively. Soon, the black tiger was enraged. The white tiger stripes on its body shone brightly, and a powerful aura spread out from it. It was a terrifying energy that carried a terrifying pressure. As soon as this aura was released, the surrounding beasts immediately prostrated themselves as if they were worshipping their king. Could it be the power of bloodline? Some martial artists were shocked and exclaimed. Not only did martial artists have the power of bloodline, but beasts also had the power of bloodline. They were not weaker than humans at all. The black tiger in front of them obviously had the power of bloodline. Roar! The white tiger stripes were like white jade. They were extremely dazzling and formed a huge shadow of a black tiger above. It looked disdainfully as if a real demon had descended. The golden divine eagle felt threatened and let out an even sharper cry. Its body shone with golden light, and every feather was as sharp as a divine sword. Its entire body seemed to be covered with a layer of golden divine flames. Its aura was not weaker than the black tiger in front of it at all. Although it did not have the power of bloodline, the golden divine eagle was not weak, especially its eyes. They were as bright as the sun, as if they could see through everything. Divine eagle eyes. Could this be the legendary divine eagle eyes? Someone exclaimed again, looking very excited. What's the divine eagle eyes? Some martial artists were puzzled and asked. The divine eagle eyes is said to be able to see through everything. It can see the trajectory of the opponent's moves. It's very powerful. This divine ability originally belonged to the demon race. It was later evolved into a divine ability by the human race's experts. I didn't expect this divine eagle to have such a powerful divine ability, like the divine eagle eyes. Roar! An earth-shattering sound rang out, as if thousands of thunderbolts were descending. As the black tiger moved, the huge tiger soul above, it also launched an attack. Boom! This attack seemed to devour the sky and split the earth. The entire ground cracked like a python's web. The huge cage also shook and was about to break open. Everyone was shocked and quickly retreated. Fortunately, streaks of colorful light suddenly appeared on the ground, forming a huge rectangular light array that enveloped the two mutated beasts. This was a defensive array set up by the experts of the War Beast Castle. Dust clouds filled the air, and rocks flew everywhere. The momentum was extremely terrifying. However, the golden divine eagle was not hurt. Its eyes emitted a golden light that could see through everything. In other words, it had completely seen through the black tiger's powerful attack. In the next moment, the golden divine eagle appeared in the void. It spread its wings like two clouds of golden mist. On its wings, every feather shone like a divine sword. Buzz! The golden feathers were like divine light, forming streaks of sword chi that shot down quickly. It was as if thousands of divine swords were surging in the sky. The entire rectangular space was completely covered. This divine ability was very shocking. 108,000 streaks of divine light joined together and quickly drowned the black tiger. Roar, roar, roar. The black tiger was unwilling to resist. It led the huge shadow to counterattack. However, the golden light was too sharp. It directly pierced through the shadow and body of the black tiger, nailing it to the ground. Blood flowed. A powerful mutated beast had died. The divine eagle retracted its wings and stood proudly, looking disdainfully at the surroundings. Everyone was shocked and couldn't recover for a long time. At this moment, the people of the Warbeast Castle smiled faintly and said loudly, "This is the Golden Divine Eagle, a 9th-rank demonic beast. It is still in its infancy. Its future is limitless. This time, we will launch a beast battle. Which expert is willing to give it a try? If you win, you can take it away directly. You only need to pay 100,000 mid-grade spiritual stones to fight with this divine eagle. You can even obtain this powerful mutated beast. 100,000 mid-grade spiritual stones is a precious opportunity. Everyone, don't miss it." Hearing that, the entire Warbeast Castle became excited. Countless martial artists were envious and excited. They couldn't wait to go up and fight. Lin Xian also narrowed his eyes. Chapter 788. The Colosseum's decision made everyone excited. Many of them were eager to give it a try. They had seen how powerful the Golden Condor was. Even the mutated black tiger with bloodline power was no match for it. Moreover, it was only in its infancy. If they could subdue it and wait until it reached adulthood, it would definitely be a super powerful help. No one wanted to miss such a good opportunity. The middle-aged man from the Colosseum smiled at the fiery scene and continued, "Now, I will state the requirements of the competition. First, you can only subdue it. You can't kill it. Otherwise, you will become the enemy of our Colosseum. Second, although this golden feather temple is extraordinary, it is only a 9th-rank demonic beast, which is equivalent to the human spirit detecting realm. Therefore, those who participate in the competition must suppress their cultivation to the spirit detecting realm. As long as these two conditions are met, you can participate in the competition. Of course, if someone doesn't know how to suppress their cultivation, we also have a special formation that can definitely help you. Now, everyone make your decision." Hearing this, everyone started to discuss again. However, most of them shook their heads, and the fiery passion in their eyes disappeared. This golden feather temple was too powerful. Its combat power was definitely comparable to a venerable. Suppressing one's cultivation to the spirit-detecting realm to fight with it was an act of seeking death. Although everyone was envious, they weren't fools. They wouldn't do such a dangerous thing. Suppressing cultivation? Not bad. Lin Xian narrowed his eyes. He was interested. Then he stood up and walked toward the Colosseum. In the crowd, many martial artists were discussing. Among them, there were a few young men in luxurious clothes. Their eyes were shining. "This golden feather temple is not bad. If we can train it to be a mount, it will definitely be cool," said a young man. "Oh, Brother Chen, are you interested?" The person beside him smiled. "I am indeed interested. However, suppressing my cultivation might be a little tricky. After all, this beast has the divine eagle eye. It can't be underestimated." The martial artist called Brother Chen hesitated. Suppressing his cultivation meant that he couldn't use the power of his martial soul. Therefore, it was normal for this young man to hesitate. "That's easy." The young man in silver-white clothes smiled and said, "If Brother Chen is willing, I can talk to the Colosseum. I can guarantee that Brother Chen will be unharmed." Really? Chunda's eyes lit up. He knew the identity of this young man. This young man had a deep relationship with this war beast castle. If he asked, he would definitely be able to do it. Thank you, Brother Lung. Chinda cupped his fists. Don't worry. Leave it to me, the silver-clothed youth said with a smile. Soon he returned. All right, Brother Chin, you can go now. Seeing the other party's smile, Chunda felt agitated in his heart. He knew what the other party meant. This was an intentional gift. Thank you, Brother Lung, Chunda said excitedly. From now on, Brother Lung's matters are my matters. Soon after, his confidence was greatly boosted as he walked toward the war beast castle with his head held high. Brother Lung, are you going to give away such a good exotic beast just like that? Someone asked, his heart aching. What do you know? The silver-robed young man scolded in a low voice. The Chun clan and the Yen clan have a close relationship. Chunda's mother is a member of the Yen clan. If we befriend him, we will be able to form a relationship with the Yen clan. Yes, Brother Lung, I understand, that person said, then became a little excited. At this time, Chunda had already stepped forward. Let me try. A loud voice rang out, immediately attracting everyone's attention. A figure, like a ghost, left a string of colorful afterimages in the air. It was like a flickering light and passing shadow. It was very elegant. Good movement, technique. Brother Chin, you must be an expert in the academy. Academy. Everyone was shocked when they heard that. There was only one place in the blood realm that could become an academy. That was Senma College. I didn't expect that a disciple of Senma College would also come, as expected of Senma College. That movement technique is powerful. Everyone was envious. After hearing that, the arrogance on Chinda's face became even stronger. He was like a proud rooster, insufferably arrogant. His body swayed, and he landed gracefully. Immediately, Lung Yu and the others clapped and cheered. Chunda felt great in his heart. Like an emperor, he stepped forward and walked towards the cage. However, his face soon darkened. That was because in front of him, a figure was already standing in front of the cage and would walk in at any time. This scene made him very unhappy. Someone dared to steal his limelight. That was undoubtedly courting death. Didn't they see that even the Lung family was trying to curry favor with him? Everyone was also stunned. They had thought that Chinda would enter quickly, but they did not expect that someone would be one step ahead of him. When did that person come out? Why didn't I know? Who knows? But he's obviously not giving face to that person. He's a disciple of Senma College. He's a prodigy among prodigies. That kid is probably out of luck. How dare he steal from Senma College? Someone gloated. In the crowd, Lung Yu's face darkened, and a murderous look appeared in his eyes. He had planned that day to curry favor with Chunda and build a good relationship with the Chun family. Now, someone had dared to ruin his plan. That made him want to kill that person. Chunda was even more furious. That was supposed to be his opportunity to show off, but someone dared to interfere. And now that person did not seem to have any intention of stopping. Seeing that, his face darkened, and he shouted coldly, "Stop right there! You in front, I'm talking to you. Stop right there!" That shout was like a clap of thunder that resounded in all directions. Finally, the figure in front stopped. That figure was naturally Lin Xian. He was quite interested in that matter, so he wanted to give it a try. However, he did not expect that someone would interrupt him. Lin Xian turned his head and frowned slightly. What's the matter? His voice was cold, and there was even a hint of displeasure. Of course, anyone would be displeased to be stopped for that matter. Moreover, the other party's attitude was so bad. Therefore, it was normal for Lin Xian to be displeased. However, that attitude was different in Chinda's eyes. How dare a little scholar treat him with that kind of attitude? He was displeased. Who was he? He was a disciple of Senma College, a prodigy among prodigies, and the young master of the Chin family. Did he not see that even the Lung family wanted to curry favor with him? You're just a nameless little scholar. You should be grateful that I didn't make you kneel. How dare you talk to me like that? In Chunda's opinion, that was unforgivable. Kid, leave if you know what's good for you. Otherwise, don't blame me for being rude. Chunda said gloomily. He wanted to get his hands on the golden-feathered eagle first before dealing with the other party. Leave? Why should I leave? I want to fight. Lin Xian said calmly. Fight? You? Chunda sneered. He did not sense any powerful aura from the other party. Moreover, from the looks of it, the other party did not seem to be a powerful expert. Therefore, in his opinion, the other party's fight was a joke. Kid, I'm giving you a warning out of kindness. If you go in like that, you'll be eaten in less than one move. So, hurry up and leave. Chapter 789. Chunda's words were full of contempt and disdain. The others also laughed and shook their heads. They had witnessed the power of the golden-feathered divine eagle. Ordinary martial artists would not be able to subdue it, let alone this skinny young scholar. You don't have to worry about whether or not I'll be eaten, Lin Xian said calmly, then turned around. Chun did tremble with anger when he heard that. This kid was really arrogant. However, he could not act rashly. After all, he had already revealed his identity. If he fought with a nameless martial artist, it would be a loss of face. At that moment, Lung Yu walked out of the crowd and said coldly, Brother Chen is a genius disciple of Senma College. He said that for your own good. Moreover, Brother Chen was the one who suggested this fight. You should know the rules of first come, first served. His voice was sinister and carried a serious warning. First, his words revealed Chunda's identity again, revealing his identity as a student of Senma College. Ordinary people would not dare to provoke someone from Senma College. Second, he stood at the top of the rules and pointed out that Chunda was the one who suggested it. Logically speaking, Chunda should be the one to do it. If it were anyone else, they would have been scared out of their wits, but Lin Xian did not react. Senma College? Lin Xian's lips curled up slightly. Using this identity to bully others was fine, but it was useless against him. Senma College is very powerful, but the same can't be said for its disciples. After all, there are all kinds of birds in the forest. As for the issue of first come first, I'm really sorry. Before Brother Chen said anything, I had already moved. So, logically speaking, I should be the one to go first, Lin Xian said calmly. The surrounding martial artists were shocked. This young scholar looked weak, but when he spoke, he was not weak at all. He dares to compete with someone from Senma College. How bold! Not necessarily. He might be an expert. Everyone discussed. They felt that this young scholar might be extraordinary and an expert. Lung Yu and Chunda looked gloomy. Chunda stared at Lin Xian with an unfriendly gaze. If they were not in public, he would have killed Lin Xian with a palm. Lung Yu sneered. Since you insist, I can't do anything about it. As for the order you mentioned, we really didn't see it. How about this? Let's let the people from the Warbeast Castle decide. They know who arrived first. What do you think? Lung Yu stood with his hands behind his back. At this moment, the middle-aged man from the Warbeast Castle quickly said, Young Master Chen arrived first. He should be the one to fight first. Ha, what do you think? You shouldn't be able to refute the words of the Warbeast Castle, right? Lung Yu looked at Lin Xian with a mocking smile. He was, of course. Hearing this, everyone fell silent. Although no one noticed, many ancient martial art practitioners had seen that Lin Xian was the first to move. The people from the Warbeast Castle should also know, but now they said that Chunda arrived first. The meaning was self-evident. It seemed that the young scholar was going to be unlucky. Lin Xian looked at Lung Yu and the middle-aged man's expression and immediately understood. He sneered in his heart. If he guessed correctly, this arrogant young man was in cahoots with the Warbeast Castle. However, he did not point it out. Instead, the corner of his mouth rose. If that's the case, then I will wait. I think it won't be long before I can go on stage. Lin Xian chuckled. He then walked to the side, opened his folding fan, and rested comfortably. Humph! Lung Yu snorted and smiled at Chunda. Brother Chen, please. Chunda nodded and stared at Lin Xian. If I go on stage, you won't have any chance. That's not necessarily true. Lin Xian smiled faintly. Idiot. Lung Yu sneered in his heart. He had already arranged everything. How could there be a mistake? Chunda also looked arrogant. Kid, open your eyes and see what a genius is. Then, he quickly walked into the Warbeast cage. How is it? Are you ready? Lung Yu asked. Don't worry, young Master Yu. The beast tamer is ready. This time, that beast won't even be able to use half of its strength. The middle-aged man from the Warbeast Castle also transmitted his voice. Warbeast Castle. This Warbeast Castle was actually the Lung family's force. No wonder Lung Yu was so confident. Lung Yu gave Chunda a done look, then retreated to the side. Buzz. A huge blue light matrix was formed, covering the entire Warbeast cage to prevent the energy from leaking out. At the same time, next to the middle-aged man from the Warbeast Castle, there was a martial artist wearing a big black robe, secretly controlling the golden-feathered divine eagle in the matrix. Be my mount obediently. This is your glory. Chunda sneered and quickly rushed toward the golden-feathered divine eagle. Boom. A terrifying big palm fell, grabbing at the golden-feathered divine eagle. Although its strength was suppressed, its power was still very terrifying. As a mutated beast, the golden-feathered divine eagle was arrogant. How could it allow a human to challenge it? Therefore, in the next moment, it also attacked, grabbing at Chunda. The huge golden claw covered the sky and quickly grabbed down, as if it could tear everything apart. Clang! The two collided, and a terrifying aura surged in all directions. Fortunately, there was the blue matrix, or the nearby area would be turned into ruins. The surrounding audience was shocked and carefully looked at the scene in front of them. Bang! 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 Chunda attacked continuously. The terrifying big palm covered the sky, and the sun, like a huge mountain, quickly attacking the opponent. Every time, there was a thunderous sound. On the other hand, although the golden-feathered divine eagle was angry, it was firmly suppressed. This, everyone was shocked. They didn't expect the powerful golden-feathered divine eagle to be suppressed as soon as it came up. As expected of a disciple of Senma College, he's really powerful. Yeah. Even if his cultivation is suppressed, he's still incomparably powerful. Everyone praised. Good job, Brother Chen. Brother Chen, you can do it. Lung Yu led a group of people and also cheered loudly. He wanted Chen to feel the feeling of being revered and worshipped. However, not everyone thought so. Some experts also noticed the clues, and their faces changed greatly. But out of fear of the Warbeast Castle and Senma College, they didn't dare to say anything. Lin Xian narrowed his eyes and sneered in his heart. With his eyes, he could naturally see that the golden-feathered divine eagle's strength was suppressed. It was afraid that it couldn't even use half of its strength now. Otherwise, Chunda wouldn't be a match for it. The crimson dragon slid out of Lin Xian's sleeve and said, "It's a beast tamer." Beast tamer? Lin Xian was a little surprised. Yes, a martial artist who can subdue and even control demonic beasts. They have special methods to prevent this stupid eagle from using its strength. So that's how it is. Lin Xian understood, and then he looked around. Soon, his gaze fell on the black-robed man beside the middle-aged man of the Warbeast Castle. He could sense a strange soul power from the other party's body. The terrifying fist was incomparably resplendent, as though it could split the heavens and earth apart, tearing the air apart. Light soared into the sky and covered the entire blue array. The golden-feathered divine condor struggled with all its might and let out an unwilling roar. However, it was still unable to break free from its control. Recovered again? To the side, Lin Xian was also surprised. The other party was able to shake off his interference so quickly. It seemed that he was not a weakling. However, competing with him in soul force was truly courting death. Without any expression on his face, he once again used his soul power to form an invisible sword and quickly slashed at the void. This attack was much more powerful than the previous probing attack. It directly severed the connection between the beast tamer and the golden-feathered divine eagle. Boom! In the next moment, the golden-feathered divine eagle became more powerful again. A terrifying aura gushed out in an instant. Golden light filled the air and shone brightly. The beast swung its claws and repelled Chunda's fist. Then it spread its wings and screeched at the sky. On the feathers, golden light shone brightly and formed golden sharp swords that flew out quickly. The void was pierced and terrifying energy swept out in all directions. Chunda was terrified, and his expression changed drastically. If he had not suppressed his cultivation base, he could have resisted this attack. However, now that his cultivation base had been suppressed to the spirit-detecting realm, he could not resist at all. No, with a scream, Chunda's face turned pale as he quickly fled to the back. This change caused the surrounding martial artists to exclaim again. They waited with their eyes wide open, unable to believe the scene before them. Chunda, who was incomparably arrogant before, was now like a stray dog, fleeing quickly. He was in a very sorry state. So this is the power of a Senma College expert. It's really an eye-opener. Lin Xian sneered. This time, he used his spiritual power to let his voice spread clearly in all directions. As soon as he said this, many people immediately roared with laughter. However, Chunda's current performance was no different from an ordinary martial artist. He did not look like an expert at all. Lung Yu's face was gloomy. He could not care about Lin Xian now, and directly sent a voice transmission. What's going on? Damn it. Someone cut off the connection with my golden-feathered divine eagle. The black-robed man was unusually angry. Young Master Yu, what should we do? The middle-aged man also showed a trace of uneasiness. If Chunda was injured, their plan would be ruined. Quickly get rid of the cultivation-based suppression array. At the same time, he sent a voice transmission to Chunda. Brother Chun, there is no cultivation-based suppression anymore. Quickly use your martial soul. After hearing this, Chunda no longer cared about his previous bold words and directly used his martial soul. Boom! The aura of a venerable erupted, and it was incomparably powerful. In the next moment, Chunda let out a long roar, turned around, and punched out, colliding with the golden light that filled the sky. The energy exploded, and the void trembled. The light soared into the sky, drowning everything. The surrounding people were shocked. They did not expect Chunda to use his martial soul. This was completely different from what the Warbeast Castle said before. However, Chunda clearly did not care so much. He used his martial soul and fought with the golden-feathered divine eagle. On the other side, the black-robed man urged his soul power again, trying to regain control of the golden-feathered divine eagle. However, Lin Xian did not give him a chance. He also used his soul power to destroy the eagle. Damn it! Who is it? The black-robed man was furious. He realized that the other party's soul power was very powerful, even surpassing his own. He could not accept this. Originally, he thought that the other party was an amateur who only knew how to use soul power to barge around. He was not his opponent at all. But now he realized that was not the case. Maybe the other party really did not know how to control demonic beasts, but in terms of using soul power, the other party was not inferior to him at all. Humph, the middle-aged man from the Warbeast Castle, also had a gloomy face. His eyes were like torches as he scanned the surroundings trying to find the culprit. Lung Yu was also on the move. Several people searched, but there was no result. In the end, their gaze fell on Lin Xian. At present, the most suspicious person was this seemingly calm young scholar. However, they did not find anything unusual on Lin Xian. This made them gnash their teeth in hatred. After half a day, they did not even find the culprit. This was even worse than slapping their faces directly. Lin Xian's expression was calm, but he sneered in his heart. These people still wanted to find his flaw. What a joke! When he did not have the heaven-changing technique, his soul power was already incomparably powerful. Now that he had the heaven-changing technique, he could deceive everyone. With these people's strength, they could not discover his soul power at all. Chapter 791. Just as these people were looking for the person who had attacked in the dark, the battle in the battle cage changed once again. Although Chun De used his martial spirit and became stronger, the golden feathered divine condor seemed to be provoked and became incomparably furious. It launched powerful attacks without any regard for its life. It couldn't be helped. It had been really stifled before. The hateful human in front of it had used some unknown method to reduce its strength by half and even suppress it for a while. As an exotic beast, it couldn't bear it. Therefore, now that there was a chance, it decided to take revenge. It had to kill the detestable human in front of it. The light in his eyes flickered like two suns, releasing incomparably dazzling light. Divine Eagle Eye. Chunda's pupils shrank. He was already on the verge of collapsing. With the addition of the condor eyes, he would definitely be finished. He didn't even want to fight anymore. He just wanted to leave this place as soon as possible. What mount? What reputation? Nothing was more important than his life. Boom! The golden-feathered divine condor unleashed a terrifying attack, blasting Chunda flying again. Scram! Chunda swung his fists, forming fist shadows that filled the sky. It was as if countless meteors were descending with great momentum. However, the golden-feathered godly condor had the godly eagle eyes and could see through everything. Its body was like a golden bolt of lightning shuttling back and forth between the fist shadows. It was not hurt at all. Instead, it got closer and closer to Chunda. In the next moment, it finally arrived in front of Chunda. With a wave of its sharp claws, it became the size of a house and quickly descended, bringing with it boundless golden light. Puff! Chunda spat out a mouthful of blood. He couldn't hold on any longer and was sent flying. He crashed into the blue matrix, causing the earth to tremble. Brother Lung, save me! Finally, Chunda's heart was filled with fear. He no longer dared to fight and quickly called for help. Lung Yu's face was gloomy. He had long wanted to make a move. If Chunda was injured in their bestial battle arena, then all his plans would be ruined. But if he rashly stopped Chunda, he was afraid of hurting Chunda's face. So he was in a dilemma. Now that Chunda took the initiative to speak, he let out a sigh of relief. Without Lung Yu's instructions, the middle-aged man from the Warbeast Castle was already prepared. He immediately removed the blue defensive array. Seeing the blue array disappear, Chunda immediately rushed out and quickly fled. The golden-feathered divine eagle cried out and wanted to soar into the sky, but it was firmly restrained by the black-robed beast tamer. Everyone was shocked. They didn't expect this to happen. Lin Xian sneered. He waved his folding fan and slowly walked to Chunda's side. Is this the battle of geniuses you wanted me to watch? I don't see any genius. I only see a stray dog. How ironic, Lin Xian said mercilessly. Brat, You're courting death. Chunda was enraged, killing intent surfacing in his eyes. What's wrong? You're tough now? Why was he so cowardly just now? A venerable running away from a rank 9 demonic beast? What a joke. Everyone was stunned. They didn't expect a student of Senma College to be so weak. Chunda was so angry that he was trembling. His lips trembled as he glared at Lin Xian. He wanted nothing more than to tear him apart. However, he couldn't do anything. Firstly, he was injured and his qi, blood, and spiritual energy were in a mess. Secondly, what the other party said was the truth, so he couldn't refute it. For a moment, he was stunned on the spot. His face alternated between red and white, and he wished he could find a hole to hide in. However, that was probably the most embarrassing day of his life. At that moment, Lung Yu walked over. He snorted and said, "It's not Brother Chen's fault. That beast suddenly went crazy and caught Brother Chen off guard. Didn't you see that Brother Chen had been suppressing his opponent in the early stages?" "Mistake?" Lin Xian sneered, who was the one who boasted shamelessly that he was a genius from Senma College, and that his strength was so strong that I had to open my eyes wide. I did observe carefully, but I didn't see how strong he was. Instead, the golden-feathered condor in the early stages was dispirited and couldn't even use half of its strength. I'm afraid someone did something to it. What did you say? After being exposed in public, Lung Yu's face darkened. A murderous intent appeared in his eyes as he pointed it at Lin Xian. What? You dare to do it, but don't dare to admit it? Lin Xian sneered. Don't treat everyone as fools. I'm not the only one who saw your despicable behavior. I'm afraid many people here know about it. Nonsense. I don't understand what you're talking about. Lung Yu said in a deep voice. Yeah, that's not Brother Chen's true strength. This is a mistake. If you don't believe me, you can ask the Colosseum. The few young men who followed Lung Yu also spoke out. That's true. Even the middle-aged man from the Colosseum said, this time, the golden-feathered condor really went crazy and disturbed young Master Chen. Please forgive us. Hearing this, everyone was shocked and looked at the scene in disbelief. They naturally noticed the abnormality before, but they didn't expect the people from the Colosseum to be biased. Moreover, it was twice. This made them extremely shocked. They didn't dare to believe it. One must know that although there was an inside story in the Colosseum, they still had to maintain fairness in front of everyone. However, the Colosseum didn't even care about this bit of fairness. It was indeed shocking and somewhat chilling. How about it, kid? Even the people from the Colosseum said that the beast went crazy. What else do you have to say? I think you're just jealous and came here to pick a fight. The few young men sneered. Yeah, didn't you say you'll go? Why don't you go? I'm afraid you won't even be able to block one move. Everyone knows how to quarrel. If you have the ability, show me your true strength. If you can win, I'll call you Grandpa. The few of them mocked and ridiculed. They didn't put Lin Xian in their eyes at all. Of course I'll go. Lin Xian said coldly, this golden-feathered condor was originally mine. It's just that some people want to make a fool of themselves. Humph, what are you talking about? I don't believe you can subdue it. Chunda refused to accept it. He didn't succeed, so he naturally didn't want others to succeed, especially Lin Xian. If Chun really subdued it, it would be a slap to his face in front of everyone. He had already suffered a heavy blow in his life. He couldn't bear it a second time. Therefore, he looked at Lung Yu. He knew that Lung Yu had a way to make everyone lose. This meant that it wasn't his strength that was the problem, but the golden-feathered condor. This was his only chance to save face. Lung Yu nodded slightly. He naturally knew what Chinda was thinking. He had the same idea. Therefore, he transmitted his voice to the middle-aged man and the beast tamer to get ready. This time, we can't make a mistake. The middle-aged man whispered to the beast tamer beside him, Don't worry. It's much easier to make the golden-feathered condor angry than to suppress it. The black-robed man smiled confidently. Moreover, after what happened just now, I'm afraid we don't need to instigate it. The golden-feathered condor is already in a berserk state. That's for the best. That kid dares to go against us. We won't let him off easily. The middle-aged man's eyes were gloomy. It would be best if he could stay in the cage forever. He. The two of them looked at each other and laughed coldly. It was as if Lin Xian's life was already in their hands. Chapter 792. Lin Xian didn't need to eavesdrop at all. Just by looking at their expressions, he knew what they were thinking. Sneering in his heart, Lin Xian slowly walked into the cage. Crack, boom. In the next moment, the cage was slammed shut. Then, a blue light lit up and quickly formed a blue array that sealed the entire small space. Lin Xian and the golden-feathered divine eagle were locked in the sealed array. Soon, Lin Xian felt an inexplicable force surge out, suppressing his cultivation to the spirit-detecting realm. In the outside world, Lung Yu and the others sneered, waiting for the scene of Lin Xian being torn apart. On the other hand, the onlookers were very worried and watched nervously. In the cage, the golden-feathered divine eagle was enraged when it saw a human walk in again. It hadn't vented all the anger in its heart before, and now it wanted to vent all of it. It wanted to tear the human in front of it apart. With a furious roar, its demonic aura surged like golden demonic flames. The flames burned, distorting the air. It had to be said that the golden-feathered divine eagle was indeed powerful, although it was only a rank 9 demonic beast. Its strength was not inferior to a venerable realm cultivator at all. In an instant, the entire cage was enveloped by golden demonic flames, as if it was the fire of hell. Seeing this, the middle-aged man and the beast tamer sneered. As expected, the golden-feathered divine eagle will be enraged, without us doing anything. However, before the black-robed man's laughter disappeared, his pupils suddenly constricted, and his face was filled with surprise, as if someone had grabbed his neck. What? That's impossible! He shrieked in shock. Beside him, the middle-aged man also frowned with an ugly expression. Lung Yu, Chinda, and the others were stunned on the spot. The surrounding cultivators also looked at the scene in front of them in disbelief. Many of them swallowed their saliva with difficulty. How? How is this possible? In the cage, the enraged golden-feathered divine eagle was now extremely docile like an obedient sparrow. It was no longer as ferocious as before. The monstrous golden demonic flames had long disappeared. Even the golden-feathered divine eagle was trembling, not daring to approach Lin Xian. What's going on? Everyone was stunned. The golden-feathered divine eagle was an extremely ferocious demonic beast. Previously, it had even killed the black tiger that possessed the power of bloodline. Not only that, not long ago, it had even beaten Chun De to the point where he was seriously injured. That terrifying aura was unforgettable to the spectators. But now, it was as if it had changed into a demonic beast, becoming incomparably docile. This is impossible. Could it be that the scholar has some special means? No special method is possible. No one can make the golden-feathered divine condor so docile. An expert shook his head, unable to understand. Chapter 793. The corner of the middle-aged man's mouth twitched. His face was filled with shock. He had personally cast the formation to suppress the cultivation of the person inside to the harmonious spirit realm. In other words, the opponent had defeated the golden-feathered divine condor with a single strike while being only at the spirit-detecting realm. This was simply too shocking. The black-robed man's face was even more ferocious. As a mysterious beast tamer, he was able to tame ferocious demonic beasts. Just now, he had successfully controlled the golden feather divine condor and made it go berserk. However, he couldn't change the outcome. He couldn't bear it. He wanted revenge. Gritting his teeth, the black-robed man quickly formed a seal, his eyes revealing a trace of madness. Since he couldn't defeat it, he would perish together. In the next moment, the golden feather divine condor let out a miserable cry. Its voice was like a devil's voice, piercing through the clouds. On its body, countless golden demonic chi surged and began to burn. It was extremely strange. Those golden eyes were filled with pain and madness. What's going on? Did the golden feather divine condor not lose? It still wants to counterattack? Everyone was stunned. They couldn't believe it. Lin Xian's eyes were gloomy. He could naturally see that this wasn't the golden feather divine condor's intention. It was the beast tamer's doing. Boom. The golden feather divine condor couldn't bear it anymore. Its body gradually expanded, and it crashed towards Lin Xian. It looked like it wanted to perish together. Humph! Lin Xian snorted. His soul force gushed out crazily, turning into a soul sword, quickly slashing towards the void. This time he didn't hold back. Puff! The invisible attack seemed to have cut some kind of mysterious thread, causing a slight cracking sound. In the next moment, the golden feather divine condor's eyes regained clarity. Its body gradually stopped. As for the black-robed man, his body trembled, and he spat out a mouthful of blood. Impossible! He couldn't stop trembling. His eyes were filled with fear. The opponent's soul force could actually hurt him. This was completely out of his expectation. Fear, it was all fear. At this moment, the black-robed man was extremely frightened. He didn't dare to attack again. Moreover, he didn't have the ability to attack anymore. Soul Force's attack was extremely strange and dangerous. The slightest carelessness could cost one's life. That sword strike just now had already seriously injured him. He probably wouldn't be able to fight for a few months. The middle-aged man was even more shocked. He knew the strength of this black-robed man. He was a very powerful beast tamer, and his family had spent a lot of money to invite him. But now he was actually injured. We can't let him go. This kid definitely has secrets on him. The black-robed man struggled to speak. Every word he spoke was filled with pain, and his brow furrowed. At such a young age, it was impossible for him to have such powerful soul force. This little brat must have some kind of soul force artifact on him. He had to snatch it. Hearing this, the middle-aged man's eyes flickered with greed. Soul force was the most difficult type of energy to cultivate. Apart from exalted realm experts, soul force would be able to grow a little. It was very difficult for other cultivators to find a way to cultivate it. Even a venerable one might not have a cultivation technique that specialized in soul power. And now there seemed to be an opportunity. Thinking of this, he sneered again. Inside the cage, Lin Xian severed the beast tamer's control with a single slash of his sword, saving the golden-feathered divine eagle from death. Then he walked in front of the eagle and said coldly, "I know that with your intelligence you should be able to understand what I'm saying. Are you willing to come with me?" The golden-feathered divine eagle lay weakly on the ground. At this moment, when it heard Lin Xian's words, its golden eyes flickered. Without any hesitation, it quickly nodded. Lin Xian nodded in satisfaction. He took out a cup of spiritual wine and fed it to it. Not long after, the golden-feathered divine eagle stood up. It flapped its wings and came to Lin Xian's side. Then it used its head to rub against Lin Xian intimately. "All right, follow me. In the future, you will definitely surpass the extraordinary level." Lin Xian patted it. "Let's go." He turned around and walked outside. However, in the next moment, he frowned because the door of the cage did not open. Even the blue array outside did not disappear. The people outside were also in an uproar. Lin Xian had successfully subdued the golden-feathered divine eagle, which shocked them. Quite a few people cheered and cheered for him. After all, in this world, people worship the strong. However, what shocked them was that Lin Xian seemed to be trapped in the cage and could not come out. As for the people of the Warbeast Castle, they did not make any moves. It seemed that they had no intention of releasing the captive. For a moment, the atmosphere became a little strange. Lung Yu and Chunda sneered malevolently. Originally, Lin Xian's subduing of the golden-feathered divine eagle made them feel uncomfortable and disgraced. But now they were no longer afraid because they wanted to make him stay here forever. Hee hee. So what if you have the golden-feathered divine eagle? You will just die with it. Chunda's face was distorted. In the cage, Lin Xian frowned and turned to look at the Warbeast Castle. What do you mean? You can't bear to part with it, or you can't afford to lose. Young hero, you misunderstood. The middle-aged man smiled and said, after the competition just now, we found that the golden-feathered divine eagle is very abnormal and has a tendency to destroy. Chapter 794. Lin Xian had successfully captured the golden-feathered divine condor, but the Warbeast Castle did not let him go. This scene was beyond everyone's expectations, especially when the big blue hand was about to grab the golden-feathered divine condor. It caused an uproar. Many people were furious. They did not believe the Warbeast Castle's nonsense. Lin Xian naturally did not believe it either. His face was gloomy, and his eyes turned cold. I'll say it again. Let it go, and open the prison door. Boom. While his voice was still echoing, the blue light in the sky shone brightly, forming 6 huge light pillars. Together with the ground, it formed a hexagram-sealed space, enveloping Lin Xian. Young hero, don't be anxious. Wait here for a while. The middle-aged man revealed a sinister smile. There might be danger during the inspection later, so we'll put down the defensive formation to protect you. Protect? Even the onlookers' mouths twitched. How was this protection? This was obviously imprisonment. However, when Lin Xian saw the ceiling light formation around him, he laughed as if he had just heard a funny joke. However, his eyes were cold like a sharp sword, incomparably fierce. You guys really think you've got me? Young hero, why do you think so? The middle-aged man sneered. This light formation is inscribed by a formation grandmaster. It can even resist the attack of a venerable. It can definitely protect young hero's safety. That's right. You just stay here. Lung Yu sneered. Hearing this, everyone was shocked. To be able to resist the attack of a venerable, this was definitely very powerful. Perhaps the scholar was really done for. Seems like you guys are very confident. Lin Xian said lightly. Then he raised his finger and quickly drew in the air. Buzz. Ka ka ka. The next moment, the huge dazzling hexagram-sealed space suddenly trembled and made a cracking sound. Then, it burst open and turned into countless fragments. Lin Xian looked calm. He walked out from inside and said slowly, "Did you guys remember wrongly, or was that formation grandmaster lying to you? Is this formation really as powerful as you think it is?" As he said that, he waved his finger again and drew a sword chi surging upward. Suddenly, the blue palm that caught the golden feather divine condor cracked and scattered on the ground like glass. Puff! The golden feathered divine condor spread its wings and soared into the sky. It regained its freedom and quickly returned to Lin Xian's side. Why do I feel that he's pitifully weak? Wah, what? The middle-aged man's pupils constricted as he stood rooted to the ground. Lung Yu's face was also filled with fear. He screamed, "You broke it? How is this possible?" Shocking, too shocking. Everyone in the Colosseum was stunned. It was as if they had seen a ghost. They didn't dare to believe it. Chunda's body trembled as he shook his head frantically. Impossible. This is impossible. He was well aware of the power of the blue light array. Previously, he had not been able to break it with his martial soul, but now his opponent had actually broken it. What shocked them even more was that Lin Xian hadn't used his full strength to blast it open. Instead, he had casually waved his finger and destroyed the entire massive defensive formation. This was too shocking. Lin Xian had a smile on his face as he swept his gaze across the crowd. When Long Yu felt that gaze, her body instantly trembled as fear rose in her heart. As for Chunda, he was even more unbearable. He was so frightened that he took 5 steps back. Humph! Trash! Lin Xian retracted his gaze and said with disdain, "You." Chunda's complexion turned ashen, but he didn't dare to make a move. Lung Yu's complexion wasn't good either. He could only snort coldly to express his dissatisfaction. Everyone was shocked. This young scholar was too domineering. Just a gaze was enough to scare 2 young geniuses. Lin Xian retracted his gaze and looked at the middle-aged man and the black-robed man from the Colosseum. The black-robed man's body also trembled. As a beast tamer, his soul power was very sensitive. He discovered that the soul power fluctuation on Lin Xian's body was exactly the same as the soul power that had injured him. After hearing this news, his eyes were filled with fear. He didn't dare to look at Lin Xian. The middle-aged man's face sank as he said coldly, "Our Colosseum was kind enough to protect young Hero, but young Hero destroyed our formation. This isn't too good." "Not too good?" Lin Xian laughed. "You're still pretending even now. You're really good at acting." "I don't understand what you're talking about." The middle-aged man had no choice but to brace himself and say, "Humph." Lin Xian retracted his smile. He looked at the middle-aged man from the Colosseum and said coldly, "You're saying that the golden feather divine eagle went crazy?" "Exactly. We just wanted to find a reason to ensure young Hero's safety." The middle-aged man said in a deep voice, "You're really shameless." Lin Xian sneered. "What did you say?" The middle-aged man was angry. He stared at Lin Xian with an unkind expression. "Young man, be careful with your words. You should know that you can't just say anything. Some words will cost you your life if you say them. Threatening me?" Lin Xian closed his folding fan and said in a clear voice, "I think there's no need for your Colosseum to continue operating." He turned his head and looked at the onlookers. "I think all of you are clear about what happened today. You just didn't dare to say it because of some people's influence. But I'll say it for you. This battle was obviously set up by the Colosseum to curry favor with others. From the very beginning, they didn't let others fight. They specifically let the people they selected to fight. Not only that, they also suppressed the strength of the golden feather divine eagle, making it weak. All the experts here can see this. They obviously want to give the golden feather divine eagle away. If they want to give it away, they can just do it secretly. But to use it as a competition to deceive all the warriors and play with them in the palm of their hand, is this the way of the Colosseum? What's funny is that this genius Chun is really trash. He can't even take away the things in his hands. However, when I went on the stage, they secretly let the beast tamers control the demon beasts, making them go crazy and attack without any regard for their lives. They even wanted to make the golden feathered divine eagle self-destruct. Fortunately, I stopped it and successfully subdued it. But how did they do it? I think everyone saw it. They sealed the space, forcibly captured the golden feather divine eagle, and even wanted to imprison me. If it wasn't because I have some strength, I'm afraid I would have already been killed by them." Lin Xian said coldly, "Such a Colosseum. Do you dare to go? They only allow their people to obtain the demon beasts. If the others win, they will be killed. Do you dare to come? Aren't you afraid of being killed by them one day?" Lin Xian's words were sharp, and his voice was vast and mighty. The surrounding warriors were discussing noisily. Indeed, they had all seen what happened today. They weren't fools, so they could naturally understand what happened. And this young scholar's words weren't wrong at all. Presumptuous, a bunch of nonsense. The middle-aged man was furious. He shouted coldly, "Men, capture this person who is spreading lies to mislead the crowd." Huff, huff, huff. Suddenly, countless figures flew out from the Colosseum and formed a huge encirclement surrounding Lin Xian. "What's wrong? You've been exposed, and now you're angry?" Lin Xian sneered. "Humph, brat, no matter what you say, today is the day you die." Lung Yu roared ferociously. He had a stomach full of anger, and only by killing the other party could he vent his anger. Seeing this tense scene, the crowd of warriors frowned even more. This divine, wind Colosseum was really too overbearing. Did they really think that ordinary warriors like them were easy to bully? Chapter 795. Seeing this tense scene, the crowd of martial artists frowned even more. This divine, wind warbeast castle was really too overbearing. Did they really think that ordinary martial artists were easy to bully? "I think the fault doesn't lie with this young hero," someone said. "Yes, I think the warbeast castle should apologize," another expert said. With someone taking the lead, these onlookers also became unyielding. One by one, they shouted angrily and loudly berated the warbeast castle. The people of the warbeast castle were dissatisfied at first and wanted to suppress them. However, they underestimated the power of the crowd. Although the individual strength of these martial artists was weak, they were a powerful force when combined. Rebel, all rebel. The middle-aged man was trembling with anger. Lung Yu clenched his fists and stared at Lin Xian. His eyes were full of murderous aura. It was all because of this hateful brat in front of him who ruined his perfect plan. Unforgivable. Absolutely unforgivable. Feeling the murderous aura, Lin Xian turned his head and revealed a trace of disdain at the corner of his mouth. "You dare to make a move? Damn it." Lung Yu's face was ashen. He really didn't have the confidence and didn't dare to make a move. The other party could easily break the defensive array. He was definitely a powerhouse. Even the elders of the family might not be able to do this. Lung Yu took a deep breath and said to the martial artists of the warbeast castle beside him, "Kill him for me." "You want to kill him? You have to ask if we agree first." The crowd of martial artists were angry and fought back. Each and every one of them looked agitated. "Apologize? You must apologize for this matter. If you dare to touch him, you will be our enemy." A group of people stood in front of Lin Xian and berated angrily. Lung Yu was stunned. He didn't understand why these people were so agitated. This matter had nothing to do with them. However, these martial artists who were usually timid were, as if they were injected with chicken blood, and refused to budge an inch. How could he know that this time the warbeast castle's approach was too excessive? Not only did they target Lin Xian, but they also didn't let these ordinary martial artists dare to be safe. If the warbeast castle killed Lin Xian today, then the ones who would die tomorrow would most likely be them. If they couldn't suppress the arrogant attitude of the warbeast castle and bully martial artists, then their situation would be very dangerous in the future. That was why these people rose up in revolt. It could be said that this time, the warbeast castle not only touched the interests of Lin Xian, but also the interests of all the ordinary martial artists. Lung Yu was also afraid when she heard the angry shouts of the several hundred people. Her expression was extremely ugly. Chun Da, on the other hand, was even more unbearable. He was so scared that he peed his pants and hid in a corner, not daring to come out. The middle-aged man from the warbeast castle was so angry that his whole body was trembling. He didn't expect this scene at all. He originally thought that killing a little thief wouldn't be difficult at all, but from the looks of it now, it was impossible to implement. Elder, what should we do? A disciple of the Warbeast Castle asked. Retreat. The middle-aged man gritted his teeth and said, Retreat. Once the order was given, those Warbeast Castle's people retreated and confronted those excited people. Little thief, I don't know what kind of demonic technique you have to be able to incite these people, but remember, the golden feathered divine eagle is a demonic beast on the earth ranking. It's not that easy to take it. If you return it now, I can pretend that nothing happened. Otherwise, you know the consequences. Although you are fine today, but in the future, the middle-aged man threatened. In fact, his heart was bleeding. The reason why he was so furious was because his plan to curry favor with the Chin family had failed. Moreover, the golden feathered divine eagle was very precious. It was a demonic beast ranked 97th on the earth ranking. Any demonic beast that could be ranked on the earth ranking was not ordinary, and those that could enter the top 100 were even more rare and exotic beasts. This golden feathered divine eagle was ranked 97th on the earth ranking. Although it hadn't grown up, its potential was limitless. It was also a treasure in their Warbeast castle. Originally, they wanted to bribe Chinda. They didn't expect that Lin Xian would benefit from it. You don't need to worry about whether I can keep it or not, Lin Xian said indifferently. Humph, let's go. The middle-aged man's eyes were gloomy and cold. He waved his sleeve and brought a group of martial artists back to the Warbeast castle. However, he secretly decided that he would release the news of the golden feathered divine eagle. Even if he couldn't get it, he wouldn't let the other party get it. The people of the Warbeast castle left. Those martial artists in the surroundings cheered. Many of them congratulated Lin Xian. Brother, you are too strong. You actually subdued the golden feathered divine eagle in one move. That's nothing. The martial skill that broke the defensive formation in one sword move is amazing. I'm afraid that even the elders of the Warbeast castle can't do it. May I ask which force brother is from? Everyone started asking questions one after another. Lin Xian replied with a smile. Then he said to everyone, Thank you for your help just now. Let's go and have a drink. Let's go. A group of people left in a grandiose manner. At the same time, the divine wind Warbeast castle used the power in their hands to spread the news of the golden feathered divine eagle. It immediately caused quite a stir. Many forces were envious, especially those young martial artists. They were even more excited. This kind of exotic beast was still a cub. It was the best battle pet. If they could get it, it would be a great help in the future. Therefore, everyone moved and quickly looked for the golden feathered divine eagle in the city. On the other side, Lin Xian and the rest came to a restaurant. Everyone rushed in, and immediately the restaurant was crowded. Fortunately, this is a big restaurant. It was enough to accommodate everyone. Lin Xian and the rest ordered wine and dishes. They gathered together and drank to their heart's content. In the end, everyone drank until they were satisfied and left. Lin Xian bid farewell to everyone and returned to the courtyard that he secretly rented. Brother Xian, you are back. Yu Fei came out to welcome him. Hey, what is this? What a terrifying demonic beast. He felt the smoke-like demonic aura from the other party's body and immediately exclaimed, Golden feathered divine eagle, a kind of exotic beast. Let's talk inside. Lin Xian said. After that, he entered the courtyard and told Yu Fei everything that happened before. This Lung family is really too much. Yu Fei was furious. Brother Xian, do you want to bring people here and destroy the Lung family? No rush. Lin Xian waved his hand. Now is not the time. The Wanxiang auction is getting closer, and there are more and more experts in the city. At this time, we can't have a big conflict. This auction is very important to me, so I can't lose it. So we're just going to let it go. Yu Fei was unwilling to give up. Let it go. How is that possible? Lin Xian sneered. Wait until the auction is over. Then we'll deal with them. Next, Lin Xian asked Yu Fei to secretly gather information about the Lung and Huang families. Only when he understood the other party's strength would he be able to make a move. Phew, Ben Huang is suffocating. The Crimson Dragon was like a loach as it quickly ran out of the demonic beast pouch. The Snow-White Monkey also came out. After they came out, they stared at the golden-feathered divine eagle. Puff, puff, puff. The golden-feathered divine eagle, who had its head held high and its chest puffed out, trembled in fear when it saw the Crimson Dragon and the Snow-White Monkey. It kept retreating. The aura of the two beasts made it instinctively afraid. This was not from their strength, but from the pressure in its blood and soul. It was as if there was an irresistible force that made it worship them. Chapter 796. The golden-feathered condor trembled as if it was about to kneel down. It's been a long time since I've eaten a roasted condor wing. The Crimson Dragon was drooling. The golden-feathered condor trembled even more and almost fainted. Wuji, the Snow-White Monkey, jumped over and looked at it curiously. Then it jumped onto the condor's body with a swoosh, looking very happy. However, the golden-feathered condor was scared half to death. It crawled on the ground and didn't dare to move. All right, you two, stop scaring it, Lin Xian said helplessly. Silly bird, listen carefully. You're our little brother from now on. Ben Huang will help you if anyone dares to bully you. The Crimson Dragon waved its dragon claws and said. The golden-feathered condor nodded carefully. It no longer had the heroic appearance from before. It was like a docile little chick. Next, Lin Xian rested for 2 days before he went out again. After putting the golden-feathered condor into the demonic beast pouch, Lin Xian turned into a young scholar again. He waved the folding fan and appeared in the city. This time, he went to a tea house and ordered a pot of spiritual tea. He slowly tasted it. There were martial artists from all over the place gathered together and chatting with each other. I heard that there are many good things in the Wanxiang auction this time. There's even a half-Earth rank artifact. Of course, I heard it's called the Lone Star Sword. Many swordsmen came this time for this sword. In addition, there was also a rare refining material like the Phoenix Blood Copper. Everyone was discussing excitedly. However, what they talked about the most was still the matters within the city. Have you heard? A few days ago, someone caused a ruckus in the Divine Wind Warbeast Castle and won the golden-feathered condor. Golden-feathered condor? The beast that's ranked 97th on the Earth ranking? Someone was shocked. Yes, although it's just a beast now. It'll definitely be terrifying when it grows up in the future. What's going on? How could the Divine Wind Warbeast Castle be willing to let such a beast out? There's nothing they can do. I heard that it's a young scholar who's very strong. Although his cultivation was suppressed, he still has the strength of a venerable. That's why he won the beast. Everyone was discussing fervently. I'm guessing that this scholar must be from some great power. He might also be a genius. Yeah, I heard that even the students of Senma College are no match for him. Many people began to guess the other party's identity. Thud, thud, thud. At this moment, a loud sound echoed in the tea house like a bell and drum. His voice wasn't loud, but it reached everyone's ears clearly, as if he was right beside them. However, in the next moment, some people began to tremble because that voice became extremely demonic. It was as if a lightning hammer smashed into their hearts, making them tremble. Many of the weaker martial artists had flushed faces, as if they had suffered internal injuries. Soon, there was a voice at the top of the stairs. This was a youth dressed in red. His black hair was like a waterfall, and his eyes were long and narrow. They were extremely bright, like sword radiance, incomparably fierce. He was like a sword god, standing there, giving people a sense of oppression. What genius, scholar? That's because he hasn't seen me yet. If he does, I'll suppress him with one hand. The youth had a handsome face and a tall figure, but his words were very sharp, making people frown. Behind him were 6 beautiful women. Each of them was holding a sword in their arms. Some were simple and unadorned, while others were luxurious. Obviously, those 6 treasured swords were all famed swords. At this moment, an oval-faced girl walked out from behind him. She came to the nearest table and said coldly, "My young master has requisitioned this table. Leave quickly." The girl's voice was cold. Then she threw out a bag of spirit stones. F***CK. What do you take us for? Beggars? Do you really think we're pushovers? Those people were originally heroes of the pugilistic world and had fierce temperaments. Now that they encountered such a situation, they were naturally furious. Clang, clang. A few of them drew their swords. Their eyes were ferocious as they looked at the oval-faced girl. "You overestimate yourselves," the oval-faced girl sneered. Then she waved her jade-like hand and struck out a series of mysterious palm shadows in the air. They were like floating lights, extremely mysterious. Bang, bang, bang. In an instant, the 3 people in front of the table screamed and flew out of the window. The whole process was very fast. In the blink of an eye, the table was emptied. Then 2 more youths came from behind. They formed hand seals and formed a cloud of mist to clean the entire table. Then they took out handkerchiefs and carefully wiped the table. "Young master, please sit." "Okay." The red-clothed young man grunted and then slowly sat down. The 6 girls began to get busy. One took out spirit tea, one took out spirit liquid, and one took out a high-quality purple teapot and began to brew tea. The teapot was not big, but it emitted a purple light. It was actually a treasure. Looking at the extravagant and domineering red-clothed young man, many people's eyelids twitched. Needless to say, this was another genius from a large faction. Lin Xian sat in the corner and looked at this scene. He frowned slightly. He did not expect to see this group of people again. The red-clothed young man's ostentation shocked many people. But there were some who were not convinced. They sneered and said, "You're too arrogant." As far as I know, there are very few martial artists in the spirit-detecting realm who can exert the strength of a venerable. That scholar is definitely a genius. I don't know what kind of ability you have to say such words. Chapter 797. Hong Wuji's words made the elder tremble in anger. He had lived for 200 years, but his cultivation was only at first-level honorable realm. That was indeed his pain. But now it was actually exposed in public. This was a slap to his face. Moreover, it was an arrogant junior. "Humph! Let me see what right you have to be arrogant." The elder snorted and stretched out his palm, forming a mountain that pressed down quickly. The entire space cracked as if it was about to crack. The mountain formed by the palm was real and terrifying. Its power was even heavier than the real mountain. Thousands of waves surged and pressed down on Hong Wuji. "Clown, I'll let you know what it means to be a young genius today." Hong Wuji sneered. He sat there and continued to drink tea, but his left hand was like a sword that stabbed upward. A ray of sword chi was as bright as a divine light. It was sharp and terrifying, and it instantly slashed the mountain. Crack, crack, crack. A low rumbling sound spread out. Countless cracks appeared on the huge mountain-like palm, and they rapidly spread out like a python web. Bang! In the end, the mountain exploded and turned into spiritual chi that disappeared. The elder snorted and took a few steps back, his face full of shock. His right palm had been deformed, and blood kept flowing out as if it had been cut by a divine sword. The surrounding martial artists were even more shocked. A casual attack had seriously injured a first-level honorable realm. The red-clothed youth's strength was too terrifying. He was at least a second-level honorable realm, or even stronger. Now, do you believe that I can suppress any scholar with one hand? Hong Wuji said confidently. This guy is really arrogant. The crimson dragon in his sleeve was furious. Kid, I can't take it anymore. Its body changed shape, turning into a palm-sized snake that quickly slithered away. You're really shameless. You think you're invincible after injuring a first-level honorable realm? A disdainful voice was heard. I think you're the frog at the bottom of the well. Everyone was shocked when they heard that. The red-clothed youth had already proven his strength, but now he dared to speak rudely to him. He must be an expert. Everyone looked in the direction of the voice and saw a blue-clothed youth drinking tea alone with his back facing them. Although it was only his back view, his calm and steady aura showed that he was extraordinary. Injuring a first heaven venerable realm cultivator is nothing. It's just that there aren't any more powerful cultivators here. Otherwise, we could all suppress them together. Hong Wuji was still as arrogant as ever. As for you, if you're not convinced, then feel free to attack. I will let you know the definition of a genius. Insolent, too insolent. Lin Xian's face was also gloomy. This guy was really arrogant. He really wanted to walk over and kick him in the face. The crimson dragon that was coiled around Lin Xian's hair howled in anger. F***CK. Ben Huang is so angry. Despite living for so long, he had never seen such an arrogant fellow before. At this moment, someone asked, "May I know your name?" This was a young man who had also reached the first level of the honorable realm. Furthermore, he was at the peak of the first level of the honorable realm. It could be said that he was also a young genius. Yes, you are qualified to know. The red-clothed young man nodded slightly. Remember my name. Hong Wuji. Hong Wuji. Is he from the Red Leaf Valley? Everyone was shocked. But then they came to a realization. No wonder he's so arrogant and powerful. So he's from the Red Leaf Valley. At the same time, everyone was even more shocked. A peak first level of the honorable realm was only qualified to know his name. Just how powerful was this red-clothed young man? Hong Wuji? The crimson dragon snorted coldly. Never heard of him. As for the Red Leaf Valley, I've even less heard of it. Judging from the name, could it be some kind of tourist attraction? Hey, red-clothed young man, how much is the ticket to your house? A mocking and teasing voice echoed in the tea house. This voice was strange, but no one dared to laugh. Someone actually dared to joke about the Red Leaf Valley. How arrogant. As expected, Hong Wuji's face darkened as soon as this was said. His entire body emitted a terrifying murderous aura. Countless sword rays formed in the air, densely packed and filling the entire space. The terrifying aura made one's scalp tingle and tremble. The maid also shouted angrily, "How dare you insult the Red Leaf Valley? You're courting death." The oval-faced girl and the round-faced girl dashed out at the same time. Their bodies were like lightning as they rushed toward Lin Xian. The aura on their bodies was powerful, and they carried the power of their martial souls. Everyone was shocked. They had thought that these 6 girls were ordinary maids, but they did not expect them to be martial arts experts. Their cultivation had definitely reached the first level of the honorable realm. To have 6 first-level honorable realm maids as maids, this red-clothed young man was really generous. In the blink of an eye, the 2 girls arrived behind Lin Xian. They waved their jade-like hands, striking out dazzling palm shadows. The terrifying aura made everyone tremble. However, Lin Xian did not turn around. He struck back, and his terrifying spiritual energy turned into a golden mountain peak that quickly pushed out. The void trembled, as if thousands of beasts were galloping. The terrifying golden mountain peak carried a huge force and collided with the countless palm shadows. This attack made the entire tea house tremble, as if it was about to split open. There were countless experts in Wind-Seeking City, and the owner of this tea house was also a martial arts expert. Naturally, he had defensive measures. Rays of colorful light surged out and quickly formed a defense to protect the tea house. Everyone heaved a sigh of relief and looked up to watch the battle in front of them. The Golden Mountain Peak was extremely powerful. It was like a giant beast that had appeared. When the terrifying and mysterious palm shadows hit it, they did not cause any impact. Instead, the rebounding force scattered the palm shadows that filled the sky. In the blink of an eye, the oval-faced girl and the other girl were pushed back by a huge force. Boom, boom, boom. The two of them kept retreating. Every step they took could crack the ground. However, at this moment, mysterious patterns appeared on the ground, forming a screen of light. The terrifying power was negated, and the entire tea house was preserved. The oval-faced girl and the other girl stopped with difficulty. Then they looked up, and their eyes were filled with shock. Although they were just maids, they were definitely first-level honorable realm experts in terms of strength. Furthermore, they were the strongest among first-level honorable realm experts. When the two of them joined forces, they were able to fight against a second-level honorable realm expert. However, they could not block a single attack from the other party. This was simply too unbelievable. The crowd gasped. They were originally mourning for that person, but they did not expect that person to not even move his body. He only struck back and forced the two experts to retreat. Now, the crowd could not even see his face. They could only see his back view. However, at this moment, his back view was like a boundless mountain that the crowd could only look up to. Set up the sword formation. The oval-faced girl and the other girl wanted to join forces with the other 6 to set up the sword formation. Hong Wuji did not stop them. He stared coldly at the other party's back view. Countless sword shadows appeared in the sky, emitting a terrifying aura. It was as if they would fall at any time. The oval-faced girl gritted her teeth as shock appeared in her eyes. Their green lotus sword formation was extremely powerful. Even a second-level honorable realm cultivator would not be a match for the 6 of them. But now they were unable to take down the person in front of them. They didn't even have the qualifications to make him turn around. Green lotus filling the sky. The oval-faced girl shouted. Then she quickly turned around. The 6 of them were like ghosts as they flew through the air. 6 streaks of sword chi condensed into the shape of a green lotus in the air, instantly tearing the void apart. 36 streaks of sword chi filled the sky, emitting a terrifying aura that stirred up the wind and clouds in all directions. Slash! With a shout, the 6 girls carried the green lotus sword chi and formed the green lotus in the sky. They quickly rotated and cooperated with each other to form a huge green lotus, which quickly pressed down. The entire tea house shook again, emitting creaking sounds. Countless transparent inscriptions surged in the surroundings, forming a light barrier. The surrounding martial artists quickly retreated, distancing themselves from the green lotus sword chi. It was too terrifying. Just the aftershock was enough to make their hearts tremble. They felt as if they were being cut apart. One could only imagine how much pressure the young man in the middle was under. Lin Xian snorted coldly. He did not intend to be in a stalemate any longer. The great dragon sword soul surged and quickly poured into the golden mountain in the sky. The huge golden mountain rotated rapidly and became more solid. Mysterious runes appeared on it, forming a mysterious force. In the next moment, the void exploded. The golden mountain was like a demonic mountain, pressing down quickly and violently on the green lotus sword chi. When the two collided, a violent air current swept out in all directions. The tables, chairs, windows, and doors were instantly turned into dust. Even more energy slammed on the energy barrier, causing it to vibrate violently. It was really terrifying. Crack, crack, crack. The green lotus sword chi in the sky could not hold on any longer and shattered like glass. The 6 girls were terrified. Blood flowed out from the corners of their mouths. Their delicate bodies flew out and fell to the ground. Lin Xian waved his sleeve and put away the golden mountain and the silver river in the sky. He picked up a cup of spiritual tea and took a sip. His back was still facing the crowd. Hong Wuji frowned even more. His opponent could easily break the green lotus sword formation. He was definitely a powerful martial artist. "Who are you?" he asked coldly. "Haha, red-robed kid. You don't have the right to know." Before Lin Xian could speak, the dark red dragon had already roared out. As soon as the words came out, Hong Wuji's face darkened. Murderous intent appeared in his eyes. In the void, tens of thousands of sword radiances appeared, making a loud noise. The terrifying aura was like a violent tsunami, shocking everyone. Sun Moon Seal. Lin Xian formed another seal and shot out a sun. The void vibrated, forming a red sun. It was extremely dazzling, just like a real sun. The dazzling sunlight also turned into tens of thousands of golden swords, piercing out fiercely. Clang, clang, bam, bam. The 2 types of sword chi fought in the void, causing a large crack to appear in the void. It was a shocking and terrifying sight. In the end, the 2 types of sword chi disappeared at the same time and turned into spiritual chi. He withstood it. The crowd was shocked. They had not expected the young man to withstand Hong Wuji's attack. This was unbelievable. Hong Wuji could injure a martial artist at the peak of first-level honorable realm with a casual attack. This meant that Hong Wuji's strength was above that of a second-level honorable realm. He might even be stronger. Now, the young man with the back view had also displayed powerful strength. He did not seem to be any weaker than Hong Wuji. This young man is also a supreme talent. I wonder which superpower he is from. The crowd was shocked. They were familiar with this situation. After all, the Vientiane auction had attracted many supreme talents. Countless powerful martial artists would enter Windy City. However, they had not expected 2 supreme talents to fight so quickly. "Who are you?" Hong Wuji's voice was cold, and his expression was solemn. The fact that the young man could withstand his attack was enough to show that he was not an ordinary person. He was at least as powerful as Hong Wuji. This person was definitely not a nameless person. "As long as you have the ability to turn me around, you will know who I am," Lin Xian said flatly. "You are courting death." Hong Wuji's eyes darkened, and he was ready to attack again. However, at that moment, a crisp laughter rang out in the void like wind chimes. "Aya, it's so lively here." A gentle voice rang out, causing the hearts of those who heard it to tremble. Many people raised their heads and looked over. Another figure appeared at the top of the stairs. Chapter 799. She was an extremely flirtatious lady. She wore a fiery red dress, and her chest revealed her snow-white flesh. Her long, slender legs were faintly discernible under the light veil. Her peach blossom eyes were captivating as if they could mesmerize anyone. There was also a faint layer of crimson radiance on her delicate body that enveloped her. She was like a demoness. Huang Xiaoxiao. Everyone's heart trembled. She was a disciple of the Huang family and a top genius among the younger generation of the Huang family. She was extremely famous in wind-seeking city. Many people swallowed their saliva and forcefully shifted their gazes away. They had no choice. Although Huang Xiaoxiao was flirtatious, she was vicious and merciless. She was definitely a ruthless character. Moreover, this lady's cultivation was at least at the second-level honorable realm. She was extremely powerful and was the reason why no one dared to provoke her. Huang Xiaoxiao's gaze turned and quickly swept past the crowd. Then she looked at the figure with his back facing the crowd. Her beautiful eyes shone brightly. Huang Xiaoxiao's beautiful eyes looked at the figure with his back facing the crowd and revealed a trace of surprise. She realized that she could not see through the other party's cultivation. If she looked carefully, there was a mysterious force that blocked her view. She had never encountered such a situation before, so she took a few more glances. However, in the end, she placed her gaze on Hong Wuji. It was clear that he was more interested in the young master of Red Leaf Valley compared to the rest. I've long heard of the great name of the Red Leaf Valley. After meeting you today, the disciples of the Red Leaf Valley are indeed extraordinary. Huang Xiaoxiao said with a smile. Who are you? Hong Wuji asked in a deep voice. He could naturally feel the powerful aura from the other party. I'm Huang Xiaoxiao. Huang Xiaoxiao smiled charmingly. Her voice was sweet and pleasant, causing many people's blood to boil and their bodies to heat up. You're also here for the white-robed scholar? Hong Wuji asked coldly. I'm not interested in the white-robed scholar. I'm more interested in the golden-feathered divine eagle in his hands. In that case, you're going to compete with me? Hong Wuji's eyes darkened. You're thinking too much. Huang Xiaoxiao smiled. How would I dare to compete with you? However, the young master of the Red Leaf Valley will definitely not be interested in the golden-feathered divine eagle. How about you give it to me? The two of them chatted as if the white-clothed scholar and the golden-feathered divine eagle were already fish on their chopping board, waiting to be slaughtered. The Crimson Dragon was tired of hearing this. He asked, Damn, Ben Huang is so angry. Kid, are you still not going to make a move? These fellows are too despicable. They don't put you in their eyes at all. Ben Huang has a toothache just looking at it. Lin Xian's face was also gloomy. He also transmitted his voice, Don't be hasty. Now is not the time to act. If we're going to play this time, let's play big. Wouldn't it be better to shock everyone? F***CK. This kid has guts. I like it. The Crimson Dragon narrowed its eyes, ready to watch a good show. Dong, dong, dong. Another powerful voice rang out. Needless to say, another expert had arrived. Sure enough, it didn't take long before another figure appeared at the staircase. He was dressed in yellow and had a handsome face. His temperament was extraordinary. When he opened and closed his eyes, there was a sharp glint in them. So it's Brother Lung Feng. I didn't expect you to come too. Huang Xiaoxiao smiled softly. This young man was also a young expert from wind-seeking city. His cultivation had reached the second sky of the honorable realm. He was also one of the top experts among the younger generation of the Lung clan. He was much stronger than Lung Yu. It seems that everyone is here for the golden-feathered divine eagle. Lung Feng directly said what everyone was concerned about. That white-robed scholar insulted our Lung clan's war beast castle and took away our Lung clan's exotic beast by force. So this time, I must kill him and bring the exotic beast back. Lung Feng's voice was cold, and there was a strong murderous intent in his words. It seemed that he wouldn't stop until he achieved his goal. The Crimson Dragon was overjoyed. Another expert had arrived. It seemed that there would be a good show to watch this time. Hong Wuji looked at Lung Feng with a serious look in his eyes. However, he still said in a deep voice, No matter how many people come, the white-robed scholar is mine. I want to suppress him with my own hands. His voice was full of confidence. Damn it, this guy is too arrogant. Even Ben Huang wants to beat him up. The Crimson Dragon was furious. Lin Xian frowned. This guy was too arrogant. He didn't take him seriously at all. It seemed that he had to find a chance to teach him a lesson. At this moment, Huang Xiaoxiao sighed. But it seems that the white-robed scholar doesn't dare to come out. Otherwise, with our power, we would have found him long ago. Humph! Useless trash. So many people admire him. What a joke. Lung Feng sneered in disdain. If he dares to come out, I'll kill him with a slash. Most legends can't be trusted. What genius scholar? In my eyes, he's just an ant. Hong Wuji sneered. He got the golden feather divine eagle by pure luck. If any of us were here, he wouldn't have succeeded that day. The three of them talked among themselves. They didn't take the white-robed scholar seriously at all. However, the discussion of the three fell into the hearts of the crowd, which immediately caused many people to be dissatisfied. They were the martial artists who saw the white-robed scholar with their own eyes. That scene was unforgettable. Since then, many of them idolized the white-robed scholar. Now, someone dared to ridicule their idol. They were trembling with anger. Although you're powerful, the white-robed scholar isn't weak either. His strength is comparable to yours. It's impossible for any of you to defeat him alone. That's right. I saw him break the blue array of the Lung family's war beast castle effortlessly with my own eyes. He's definitely stronger than those elders. Many people shared what they saw. The crowd was in a heated discussion. They all felt that the white-robed youth was indeed a genius. Even the disciples of Senma College were no match for him. How can someone like him be weak? A cute girl with big eyes said, "Who dares to insult the reputation of Senma College?" At this moment, a cold voice was heard. It was like a sharp blade that shook the void. Immediately after, a light flashed and a black figure appeared in the tea house. It was a tall man with a cold face. He stood there like a demon. He didn't move, but the aura he emitted was like that of a wild beast. It intimidated everyone. An expert, an absolute expert. Everyone was shocked. They didn't expect another young expert to appear at this time. The demon-like black-robed youth's eyes were like lightning. He scanned the surroundings and finally stared at the cute girl with big eyes. "Are you the one insulting the reputation of Senma College?" The voice was cold and sharp. It cut the air mercilessly. Everyone was shocked. It seemed that the black-robed youth was a young expert from Senma College. His expression was abnormally cold, and a hint of killing intent surfaced in his eyes. If the other party was targeting him, then he had nothing to say. However, the other party had bullied a weak girl right from the start and even wanted to kill her. He didn't dare to do that. Could it be that just because the girl spoke the truth, she had to suffer the punishment of death? Lin Xian couldn't bear it. He wouldn't allow such a thing to happen. Moreover, the girl had said those words to protect him. Lin Xian couldn't just sit by and watch. If someone died because of him, he would never be at ease for the rest of his life. Therefore, Lin Xian decided to step in and save the cute girl. With a wave of his sleeve, an invisible force surged out and transformed into an invisible ribbon. It enveloped the cute girl and pulled her back. "You're courting death." The black-clothed youth was furious. Someone actually dared to touch the person he wanted to kill. He sneered and pointed a finger. Light circled his fingertip like a divine light and quickly flew out. Whoosh! This finger rushed towards the cute girl's heart. If she was pierced, she would probably die immediately. Lin Xian's expression was gloomy. The other party actually wanted to kill a weak girl. Did they have no humanity at all? He quickly formed a seal with his palm and struck out. Spiritual power surged out. and a dazzling silver river hung upside down in the void, like 3,000 waterfalls. A ray of light intercepted the finger beam. The other ray quickly enveloped the cute girl to protect her. Bam! An earth-shattering sound rang out again. The dazzling finger beam collided with the silver river, creating a torrent of energy. On the other side, the cute girl safely arrived at Lin Xian's side. You blocked it? The black-clothed youth's expression was gloomy. He pointed his finger beam again. The light was as bright as the stars. The power of this finger beam was several times stronger than before. The finger beam flickered like a dragon. It roared ferociously out of the sea and quickly rampaged through the void. Lin Xian still used the sun and moon seal. A silver moon hung in the void and rotated gently. The moonlight flowed like water waves and quickly strangled the dragon. The terrifying energy of the finger beam was vast. It transformed into a dragon that roared and bared its fangs and claws, tearing the void apart. The silver moon vibrated and scattered its moonlight. It was like a crystal-clear silver light. The two collided with a sonorous sound that shook one's soul. However, no matter how the dragon roared, it could not break free from the moonlight. Not only that, the more it struggled, the tighter the moonlight ribbon became. In the end, it completely wrapped around it. The cold moonlight was like a transparent ribbon that destroyed the dragon. What? It's destroyed. The black-clothed youth's pupils constricted. He knew the power of this attack. It was terrifying, but it was easily destroyed by the other party. For a moment, he could not accept it. Huang Xiaoxiao, Leng Feng, and the others also frowned and stared at the back of the figure. This person's strength was far beyond their expectations. The black-clothed youth took a deep breath, and his eyes turned gloomy. Brat, how dare you meddle in my business? You're dead meat. His eyes were full of killing intent. In the next moment, a powerful aura burst out. He quickly swung his fist and punched at Lin Xian. Crack, crack, crack. The void trembled, as if it was about to split open. A powerful force surged like an Archean ferocious beast that pounced at Lin Xian. In the void, the moon rotated again. The moonlight swept in all directions like a sword beam and quickly slashed at the fist. Dong, dong, dong. The two collided. The terrifying fist was incomparably powerful and scattered the moonlight. However, more moonlight poured in like water ripples. It was densely packed and covered the sky. All of them quickly slashed down. Thousands of rays of moonlight gathered and formed a moonlight divine sword that swept in all directions. In the end, the terrifying fist could not withstand it and was sent flying. The black-clothed youth also took 3 steps back with a look of shock on his face. Everyone sucked in a breath of cold air. This was too terrifying. Huang Xiaoxiao, Leng Feng, and the others frowned even more. The black-clothed martial artist's strength was on par with theirs, but he could not defeat a young man with his back facing them. This made them uneasy. If that was the case, the two of them were no match for him. Who are you? Why are you meddling in my business? The youth's expression was ugly. You won't have a good ending if you offend Senma College. Chapter 801. Senma College? Lin Xian sneered. Do you think you can represent the college? Don't flatter yourself. If Senma College was filled with scum like you, it would have closed down a long time ago, using the name of the college to bully the weak. How shameless. You, the young man in black, was at a loss for words. He trembled with anger. At the side, the adorable girl with big eyes looked at Lin Xian in surprise. Her long eyelashes fluttered, and her eyes were full of excitement. She wanted to exclaim, "Shoo!" Lin Xian shook his head gently, indicating for her not to speak. The girl with big eyes nodded desperately, then sat down beside Lin Xian with an excited expression. Hee hee, you're really skilled, young master. I'm impressed. Huang Xiaoxiao smiled. How should I address you, young master? Where are you from? Then she smiled coquettishly. Why don't you give me some face and stop fighting? The young man in black snorted. His gaze was cold, but he did not speak. Lin Xian sneered disdainfully. Do I know you? Why should I give you face? Hearing this, Huang Xiaoxiao's charming face stiffened. She could not believe what she had just heard. The martial artists around them exclaimed, their minds blank. Huang Xiaoxiao had been in Wenfeng City for a long time, and no one dared to disrespect her. Moreover, an unknown young man dared to scold her to her face. Her seductive face darkened at that thought. This little brother has a bad temper. I wonder what makes him so daring to speak to me like that. Huang Xiaoxiao's voice was cold. You should know that you'll regret it for the rest of your life if you say something like that. Lung Feng also stepped forward. You're arrogant kid. It looks like you're not going to give us face. Who do you think you are? Who do you think you are? Lin Xian shouted coldly. These people had mercilessly mocked him and treated him like a fish on a chopping board. How could he be nice to them now? Lin Xian did not have a good impression of the Huang and Lung families to begin with. He was already giving them face by not attacking them immediately. Now, these people still wanted to get close to him. Was this even possible? The surrounding people were so shocked that their minds went blank. This young man was too valiant. He actually scolded the young top experts of the Lung and Huang families at the same time. Did he not want to live anymore? You're courting death. Lung Feng's face darkened as killing intent filled his eyes. Huang Xiaoxiao's face was also taut as she said softly, Let me see what makes you so arrogant. Lin Xian and Lin Xian were like two streaks of starlight moving at incredible speed. In an instant, they arrived in front of Lin Xian. Huang Xiaoxiao used a pair of short swords that were like the fangs of a viper. They were dark green and ghastly, and they carried dense poison. Even an Exalt realm martial artist would be poisoned if they encountered them. Surrounded by green light and thin mist, it quickly pierced towards Lin Xian. It was extremely dangerous. On the other side, Lung Feng also attacked, his killing intent shocking. He used a scimitar that was shaped like a crescent moon. It drew an astonishing arc as it slashed towards Lin Xian's neck. Boundless killing intent erupted like a river of stars pouring down. It was extremely cold. Along with the cold blade, all of it surged towards Lin Xian. The two experts attacked fiercely. Even a second-rank Exalt would be severely injured in an instant. Therefore, they were confident that they could take down Lin Xian immediately. Lin Xian formed hand seals with both hands. He used the mountain river seal in his left hand and the sun moon seal in his right hand. He struck out with both hands towards the two of them. Boom! The void trembled as a silver river hung in the sky like a divine river, blocking the dark green poison outside. At the same time, the golden mountain spun and blazed with divine light. It rushed into the clouds and smashed towards Huang Xiaoxiao with terrifying force. On the other side, the cold moonlight formed an invisible ribbon that quickly wrapped around the opponent. The dazzling sun evolved into countless flaming divine swords that pierced through the void. Every sword light carried with it a fiery glow, burning everything in its path. Boom! There was a shocking explosion as Lin Xian fought against two opponents by himself. Whoosh! Boom! Along with the terrifying sound, the crowd saw two figures retreat from the energy tide. They were Huang Xiaoxiao and Lung Feng. What? He repelled them. Everyone was shocked. That mysterious young man had repelled two young experts by himself? This was too shocking. Huang Xiaoxiao and Lung Feng were even more shocked. They could easily kill a second-rank Exalt if they joined forces, but they were repelled at this moment. Could he be a third-rank Exalt? The two of them were shocked as soon as they thought of this. However, the two of them quickly shook their heads. If he was a third-rank exalt, they would not only be repelled, but they would also be severely injured. Even so, the two of them were still very wary. The two of them looked at each other and wanted to attack again. However, at this moment, a cold light suddenly appeared and stabbed towards Lin Xian. This unforeseen event was extremely shocking, causing everyone to cry out in alarm. In fact, from the moment Lin Xian attacked to the moment Huang Xiaoxiao and Lung Feng were repelled, only an instant had passed. The cold light in the void also appeared in an instant. This cold light was shocking. It was as fast as lightning and arrived in front of them in an instant. Ordinary martial artists could not see it clearly. Only Hong Wuji and a few other experts could see it clearly. It was a thin sword that was only 2 fingers wide and 1 meter long. It was like a cold light that pierced towards Lin Xian's back. Humph! Lin Xian snorted coldly. Sneak attack? He was not afraid. However, he despised the other party's actions. Moreover, he felt that such a person was not worthy of being a disciple of Senma College. That's right, the person who suddenly attacked was the young man in black who claimed to be from Senma College. He could not defeat Lin Xian, so he could only think of such a sinister attack. However, he still underestimated Lin Xian. Boom! In the next moment, a bloody light spread out behind Lin Xian, and a terrifying and violent aura erupted. The void was dyed red, and a monstrous sea of blood appeared. It carried a murderous aura and blasted in all directions. Poof! The bloody sea surged and formed a wave that slammed into the young man in black, sending him flying. That was not the end. A bloody sword condensed in the sea of blood and stood in the void. It then slashed down. The young man in black was sent flying. He felt that all the bones in his body had cracked. However, before he could recover, a bloody sword light rushed towards him. The sword light was too terrifying. The murderous aura on it was shocking. Before the sword light arrived, the aura was already enough to make people tremble. Oh no! His expression changed drastically, and a hint of fear appeared in his eyes. In his current state, he could not withstand the sword at all. Gritting his teeth, the young man in black used a life-saving technique. A ball of black light appeared under his feet. It suddenly exploded, causing his speed to increase exponentially. Only then did he manage to dodge the sword. Huff! Huff! The young man in black came to the side, panting. Although it was only a few moves, it was as if he had experienced the cycle of life and death. Let's attack together. I don't believe that the 3 of us can't take him down, Huang Xiaoxiao shouted. She wanted to combine the strength of the 3 to kill Lin Xian. Chapter 802. Let's attack together. The 3 of us will kill him, Huang Xiaoxiao shouted and moved quickly. Lung Feng followed behind and gripped the crescent blade in his hand tightly. The young man in black gritted his teeth and attacked as well. He had to kill his opponent to prove himself. Otherwise, today's battle would become his inner demon and obstruct his future path in the martial Tao. The 3 of them attacked Lin Xian from 3 different directions. Everyone held their breaths and watched with wide eyes. This was a scene that they would never see again. Hong Wuji's expression was similarly solemn. These 3 people were all second-level venerables, and each of them was extremely powerful and could suppress an entire region. Now that the 3 of them had joined forces, their aura was absolutely terrifying. Even he was not confident of winning. Hence, in his opinion, Lin Xian would not be able to handle it. Lin Xian frowned. The 3 second-level honorables had indeed given him a lot of pressure. However, since he had chosen to attack, he did not plan to lose. Not only that, but he also wanted to teach this person a lesson. In the next instant, he stretched out his hand and grabbed the blood sword in the sky. He then swept it out. Boom! The blood sword chi surged and drew an arc in the sky. It carried a violent, murderous aura and tore the void apart. The power of the sword was terrifying, and the murderous aura was shocking. It was like a vast ocean, surging violently. Lin Xian's combat power was shocking. When he swung his sword, the entire space turned blood red. Boom! The blood sword chi finally collided with the three of them, and the energy exploded instantly. The tea house was protected by a powerful array and was not damaged. However, everything in the tea house was turned into ashes. Some of the weaker martial artists were swept by the energy shock waves and immediately vomited blood. He blocked it again. Hong Wuji's sword chi surrounded him and shattered the energy around him. Hence, he continued to sit there. However, his expression did not look very good. That was because he realized that Lin Xian had blocked the three of them. Huang Xiaoxiao and the other two looked even worse. They were all shocked and could not believe it. The other party was actually able to contend against them all by himself. Perhaps even those powerful older generation ancient martial art practitioners would not be able to do so. Were they shocked? Lin Xian sneered. You think you are powerful, but you are just frogs at the bottom of a well. Then he swung his sword again and turned around at the same time. Sky-splitting blood sword. This sword came from the inheritance of the blood-colored killing sword in the Kingstone statue. Bang! The three of them were sent flying by the sword, and the entire space was annihilated. Shock. Absolute shock. Where's your arrogance from before? I thought you were some kind of expert or genius. Now, it seems that you're just trash. Three trash. Lin Xian's voice was cold. His words were sharp and merciless. Indeed, three trash. Hong Wuji snorted disdainfully. You Lung Feng, and the other two trembled in anger. They almost vomited blood. Their faces were ferocious. They wanted to fight with their lives, but they did not have the courage to do so. Not only are they trash, but they're also three cowards. Lin Xian sneered. Kid, ignore them. Why don't we fight? Hong Wuji's eyes shone brightly. No hurry. Let's get rid of the three of them first. Lin Xian walked over slowly, with the blood sword in his hand. What are you trying to do? Lung Feng and Huang Xiaoxiao panicked. Kill. Lin Xian's voice was cold. You're here to kill me. Do you think I'll let you go? Hearing this, Lung Feng and the other two's pupils shrank. Their faces were filled with fear. You dare to kill me? You don't want to live anymore. They were indeed stunned and exclaimed in shock. That's right, they had lost and lost face, but they had never been worried about their own safety. The three of them had extraordinary identities. Two of them were disciples of big families in Wind-Seeking City, while the other was a disciple of Senma College. Their identities were noble, and no one dared to offend them. Not to mention, no one dared to kill them. But now a young man wanted to kill all three of them at the same time. How audacious! Kid, if you dare to touch a hair of mine, there will be no place for you in Wind-Seeking City. Huang Xiaoxiao said in a sharp voice. You're dead. The Lung family will not let you go. Lung Feng roared with hatred. If you dare to touch me, you'll be hunted down endlessly. Chapter 803. You're dead. The Lung family will not let you off. Lung Feng roared. How dare you touch me? You'll be hunted down endlessly. Poof. Before Lung Feng could finish a sentence, the blood-red sword slashed down, and Lung Feng's head flew into the air. What? Everyone was shocked. They did not expect Lin Xian to kill Lung Feng so decisively. Huang Xiaoxiao and the black-clothed youth were stunned as well. They stood rooted to the ground. Lung Feng's head flew into the air, and his eyes were filled with disbelief. He could not believe that Lin Xian dared to kill him. Was he not afraid of the Lung family's revenge? Lung Feng's head fell to the ground with disbelief and unwillingness. Poof, poof. Lung Feng's headless body fell to the ground, and his blood flowed like a river. However, something even stranger happened. All the blood was attracted by the blood sword in Lin Xian's hand and absorbed. A hazy blood diagram appeared behind Lin Xian's back. It was extremely mysterious. At that moment, Lin Xian felt that his understanding of the blood sword legacy had deepened. Soon, the blood on the ground was sucked dry, and Lung Feng's body became a dried corpse. Lin Xian turned his eyes and stared at Huang Xiaoxiao and the young man in black. Huang Xiaoxiao felt Lin Xian's gaze and woke up from her daze. She screamed, You killed him. You're dead. The Lung family will not let you off." Her face was covered in blood, coupled with her panicked expression. She looked terrifying. "I killed you because you deserve to die." Lin Xian's voice was cold as he raised the blood-red sword in his hand again. "No, don't kill me." Huang Xiaoxiao was finally afraid when she felt the violent killing intent. She did not want to die. "Let me go, and I'll agree to anything you want." Huang Xiaoxiao's eyes were filled with pleading and seduction. "As long as you're willing, my body will be yours." Her voice was alluring and seductive. "I'm not interested in you." Lin Xian sneered and shook his head. The blood-red sword stabbed into Lung Feng's body. Poof! The sword pierced through Lung Feng's heart. The Huang family will avenge me." Huang Xiaoxiao used the last of her strength and screamed. At the same time, she burned the last of her blood and used a secret technique to attack Lin Xian. "Ha ha ha, you're dead. Even if you kill me, the Huang family won't let you off." Huang Xiaoxiao revealed a final trace of malevolence before falling to the ground. Lin Xian frowned slightly. He could feel that there was something extra in his body, but he couldn't detect it. Temporarily putting aside the doubts in his heart, he once again looked at the last black-clothed martial artist. "Don't kill me." The black-clothed youth was terrified and no longer had his previous arrogance. "I'm warning you, I'm a disciple of Senma College and a member of Dao Ling Association." The Dao Spirit Association was established by the disciples of the Yen family. "You can't afford to offend them." Dao Spirit Association? Lin Xian laughed, his mouth full of disdain. He slowly lowered his head and looked down at the black-clothed youth. "I even dared to kill Yen Qinyang, not to mention you." "What you are?" The black-clothed youth was shocked and terrified. A figure appeared in his mind. He finally knew who the scholar in front of him was. However, he didn't have the chance to speak because the crimson sword had already pierced his chest. Plop! When the last corpse turned into a mummy and fell, the crowd recovered from the shock. Too shocking. Too exciting. One person had killed 3 top young experts, and they were all of noble status. It wouldn't be long before Wind-Seeking City would riot. At least the Huang family and the Lung family wouldn't allow such a thing to happen. Hong Wuji was also slightly stunned. The young man in front of him had once again exceeded his expectations. Even if he was the young master of Red Leaf Valley, he wouldn't dare to kill the 3 of them at the same time. One could imagine how shocked he was. "Interesting, very interesting," Hong Wuji exclaimed. "Red Leaf Valley has always been arrogant. I didn't expect to see someone even more arrogant today." "Kid, you've got guts." The 6 girls looked surprised. They had never heard of anyone being praised by Hong Wuji before. Hong Wuji's eyes shone brightly and a powerful aura was released from his body. "However, I still have to suppress you. I've said it before. You're no match for me." He stood up slowly. His aura was as sharp as a divine sword that had been unsheathed. Lin Xian held the crimson sword in his hand and looked at Hong Wuji. Behind him, a sea of blood surged, and a murderous aura shot up to the sky. Boom! Their auras collided, and an earth-shattering explosion was heard. It almost tore the entire tea house's defense apart. The crowd retreated and watched anxiously. Just as the two of them were about to attack, a long roar was heard from afar. Who dares to kill the disciples of the Huang family? The voice was filled with anger like a ferocious tiger. It was extremely terrifying. Along with them, several powerful auras were rushing towards them at high speed. Oh no, the Huang family is here. The crowd was shocked. Lin Xian frowned. He didn't expect the other party to be alerted so quickly. He looked at Hong Wuji and said coldly, "We'll fight another day." Then Lin Xian turned into a ray of sword light and flew into the distance. "Thief, where do you think you're going?" Just as Lin Xian left the tea house, a terrifying palm of light fell quickly. The palm was glowing with green light like a ghost claw and covered a radius of 1,000 meters. The sky suddenly darkened, and a terrifying aura surged. The green ghost claw covered the sky and formed rays of green light. They intertwined to form a light cage and trapped Lin Xian. The cage was hard, as if it was made of divine metal. It was extremely sturdy and looked like a prison from hell. It was difficult to escape. "Little bastard! How dare you kill the disciples of the Huang family? How dare you?" The person who came was an elder in green. He was an elder of the Huang family. He shouted, "Today, I'll extract your soul and refine it so that you'll never be reincarnated." The elder's expression was ferocious and murderous. The moment they knew that Huang Xiaoxiao was dead, the entire Huang family almost went crazy. Huang Xiaoxiao was a genius disciple of the Huang family and one of the most promising ones. But now he was actually killed by someone. They couldn't accept it. They didn't even dare to believe it. One should know that the Huang family was considered a powerful force in Wind-Seeking City. Even some elites didn't dare to provoke them. Moreover, no one dared to kill a disciple of the Huang family unless they were mortal enemies. Therefore, they didn't believe that Huang Xiaoxiao was dead. However, the nameplate that represented Huang Xiaoxiao's identity was broken. They also sensed the blood mark that Huang Xiaoxiao made before she died. That was a secret technique of the Huang family. At the cost of one's life, they would make a tracking mark that could clearly guide the enemy. However, this secret technique wouldn't be used until they were on the brink of death. Since the blood mark appeared, it meant that Huang Xiaoxiao was really dead. Thinking of this, the elder in green robes' expression became ferocious. "Kid, dying 10,000 times isn't enough to atone for your sins. I'll cut off your flesh piece by piece. I'll let you live like a dog. I'll let you live a life worse than death." Chapter 804. The green-robed elder was furious. He wanted nothing more than to tear the other party apart. The green ghost claw covered the sky and released countless auras, forming a hellish cage. Everyone was shocked. The scene was too terrifying, as expected of an elder. However, most of them were worried for Lin Xian. After all, they had seen what happened with their own eyes. It was not that Lin Xian was a killer, but that Huang Xiaoxiao and the others had gone too far. Anyone would have attacked if they were in Lin Xian's shoes. Lin Xian roared and waved the blood sword in his hand, releasing a monstrous sword radiance. A violent and shocking killing aura surged. A sea of blood appeared and slapped in all directions, tearing the green cage apart in an instant. Whoosh! Lin Xian turned into a sword radiance and flew out of the cage. He stood in the air and stared at the green-robed elder. Bastard! I want you dead! The green-robed elder's killing intent surged. Behind him, dozens of lights lit up and rushed over. These people were all experts of the Huang family. They were all here to capture the murderer. Everyone in Wind-Seeking City knows who's right and who's wrong. If it weren't for your disciples being too arrogant and vicious, they wouldn't have died. The reason why they were so arrogant and vicious was because they had your support. So the one who killed them wasn't me, but you. If you old things continue to be arrogant and protect them, more disciples will die. Lin Xian said with a sonorous voice, holding the killing sword in his hand. What nonsense! The green-robed elder was trembling with anger. At this time, the experts of the other families had also arrived. They were all glaring at Lin Xian as if they had lost their minds. How dare you kill Sister Xiao? I'll kill you! A young man with a ferocious face walked out. The killing intent in his eyes surged, turning into tangible radiance, terrifying and terrifying. You can't! Lin Xian sneered. Let those old things do it. You're courting death. The young man was furious. His name was Huang Luo, and he was one of the 3 strongest people in the younger generation of the Huang family. His strength was even above Huang Xiaoxiao's. When he heard Lin Xian's mockery, he immediately roared and rushed over. No, the green-robed old man shouted from behind, his face full of anxiety. They had already lost Huang Xiaoxiao. They couldn't afford to lose Huang Luo. Otherwise, there wouldn't be many people left in the younger generation of the Huang family. However, his reminder was too late. With Huang Luo's speed, he arrived in front of Lin Xian in an instant. With a flash of light, a high-grade spirit-ranked treasured saber appeared in his hand. The saber radiance was resplendent like the Milky Way, pouring down in torrents with a terrifying aura that could destroy everything. Brat, die! Huang Luo laughed savagely. However, Lin Xian only smiled disdainfully. His eyes focused, and the sword of slaughter in his hand became even more solid, as if it was a real sword. Killing frenzy. The sword radiance flickered like a blood-red dragon attacking, its roar shaking the heavens. Clang, puff. The resplendent saber radiance was sent flying, and the terrifying blood-red sword Qi slashed at Huang Luo. No, block it! Huang Luo didn't expect his opponent to be so powerful that he could break his attack in an instant. In a panic, he quickly defended himself. However, he didn't know that Lin Xian had mastered the blood sword inheritance, and his body also had the great dragon sword soul, a heaven-defying offensive saint technique. Therefore, the power of this sword was extremely powerful. Puff! His defense shattered in an instant. Huang Luo's pupils constricted. He felt the cold sword Qi pierce his body and then mercilessly slash through his body. Then his senses disappeared. Along with the disappearance of his consciousness, there was also shock and fear. Puff! In the sky, Huang Luo's body was cut in half by the sword radiance. Puff! Puff! A rain of blood fell, as if it was attracted by an invisible force, and all of it entered Lin Xian's blood sword and the sea of blood behind him. No! Everyone in the Huang family was stunned, and then they screamed crazily. He's dead again. The second strongest youth in their family had died in front of them. Ah, I hate it. Bastard, I'll definitely kill you. The green-robed elder roared at the sky. His voice was like thunder, and it shattered the surrounding buildings. A powerful and violent aura gushed out like a volcanic eruption, blasting the clouds in the sky away. More Huang family martial artists moved, and they surrounded Lin Xian. Today, they must kill the sinner in front of them. Lin Xian looked around, and the corner of his mouth curled up in disdain. A piece of trash like this would die with a single sword strike. He really didn't know what they were sad about. Puff! Several Huang family elders were so angry that they vomited blood and their bodies trembled. Trash, the second strongest youth in their family, was called trash by someone else? Intolerable. Absolutely intolerable. Kill. Tear him into pieces. The green-robed elder roared, and he took the initiative to attack. With a punch, the mountains and rivers shattered, and the wind whistled in the void, as if it was going to tear the sky apart. You want to fight? Then come. Lin Xian roared, and his eyes flashed. Behind him, the sea of blood surged. Boom. A great battle broke out. Lin Xian formed a seal with his left hand, and a blood-red mountain appeared. It enlarged in the air and collided with the green-robed fist. The entire mountain was blood-red, as if it was a mountain from hell. It was extremely terrifying, and the green-robed fist was pushed back in an instant. His pupils shrank as he cried out in shock. He couldn't believe what was happening in front of him. This was because Lin Xian had already escaped the poison's range and instantly appeared in front of him. So fast, this speed. How is this possible? The green-robed elder shrieked. Even a third heaven venerable realm cultivator probably wouldn't have such speed. The surrounding martial artists were even more shocked. They couldn't see it clearly at all. Hong Wuji frowned. Could this speed be an earth-grade martial art? He guessed in his heart, but he couldn't be sure. However, that movement technique was too fast, and it shocked him. It must be a peerless martial art to have such speed. In fact, his guess was right. Lin Xian was using an earth-grade movement technique, the phantom illusionary demonic steps. He had already practiced this earth-grade movement technique to the small success stage. When he used it now, his speed was incomparable, and even ghosts and gods couldn't dodge it. Even a third heaven venerable realm cultivator might not have such speed. Boom. In the next moment, Lin Xian swung his sword and slashed at the green-robed elder in front of him. Oh no, the green-robed elder's scalp went numb. Not to mention the sword chi. Just the overflowing killing intent was enough to make his heart beat wildly. Was he still human? He had never seen such a powerful killing intent before. It was like a god of death. The green-robed elder waved his hand and hurriedly shot out a light shadow to defend himself. Poof. However, it was useless. Those palm shadows were instantly shattered by Lin Xian's blood-red sword. They couldn't block it at all. What? The green-robed elder was shocked. He didn't expect Lin Xian's attack to be so fierce that it instantly shattered all his palm shadows. In the next moment, the blood-red sword chi quickly slashed at him. Retreat. The green-robed elder didn't dare to take it head-on. He quickly retreated, and at the same time, he waved his hands and summoned his martial soul to defend himself. Although he retreated extremely quickly, he still underestimated Lin Xian's speed. This sword was as fast as lightning. The red sword chi turned into a blood-red lightning bolt and quickly slashed at his arm. Poof! Blood splattered. Half of the green-robed elder's right arm was chopped off. Ah! The green-robed elder's scalp went numb. His eyes were filled with horror as he turned into a green light and fled quickly. The crowd below was shocked and fell into silence. Even the Huang family elders' expressions changed drastically. The green-robed elder was also a powerful existence among them, but he was injured and fled in just a short moment. The situation changed too quickly, and they couldn't accept it at all. Trash. Not only are the younger generation trash, but the older generation is also trash. Lin Xian's voice was like thunder as he mocked mercilessly, "You're courting death. How dare you insult the Huang family?" I'll destroy you today. The other Huang family elders couldn't listen to it anymore. Although Lin Xian was powerful, they weren't weak either. Moreover, they had the advantage in numbers. If they joined forces, they could definitely suppress Lin Xian. Two Huang family elders walked up. One of them had a head of white hair and an old face, but his eyes were sharper than a blade. Obviously, he was a second-level honorable realm expert. Moreover, he was a second-level honorable realm expert. The other person was also an old man. However, he was wearing an ice-cold black armor that completely protected his body. The black battle suit emitted a cold light, and on its surface, there were many mysterious patterns flickering. This is a top spiritual treasure. Everyone was shocked. This level of armor could be said to be extremely tough and difficult to break. They didn't expect the Huang family elders to have such armor. It seemed like there was no suspense in this battle. Lin Xian probably couldn't break the armor's defense. Many people gasped and shook their heads slightly, feeling pity for Lin Xian. A top spiritual treasure was extremely powerful and would definitely be a great help. At this moment, the Huang family elder was wearing a black armor, which was equivalent to having an extra life. Among those of the same level, no one was his match. Humph, little thief, die. The Huang family elder in black armor only had his eyes exposed. The rest of his body was completely covered by the black armor. He was like a demon king as he slowly walked over in the air. Every step he took caused a huge explosion in the air, and countless waves swept in all directions. On the other side, the white-haired elder also walked over, holding a purple long sword in his hand. The long sword flickered, and there was a purple light on it. It was like a sunset that danced in the sky, making him look like a sword god. Obviously, the purple long sword was also a top spiritual treasure. The purple long sword was also engraved with mysterious inscriptions that contained a powerful attack. Chapter 806. The two elders sneered and attacked Lin Xian from both sides. Without wasting any time, the two of them attacked instantly. The white-haired elder wielded a purple long sword and slashed out quickly. A blazing sword radiance lit up the entire sky. The radiance was resplendent, illuminating tens of thousands of miles. The white-haired elder wielded a purple sword and slashed out quickly. The sword radiance flashed and tore through the void, quickly slashing towards Lin Xian. A top-grade, spirit-grade sword. Lin Xian's lips curled up slightly. He quickly drew the wind shadow sword from his waist and stabbed out as well. The green jade-like sword gradually enlarged into a giant sword that was dozens of feet long. It was terrifying and heavy. On top of it, streaks of green qi flowed. Together with the inscriptions on it, it released a mysterious and sharp aura. It was like a divine sword that slashed down quickly. What? Another top-grade, spirit-grade sword. Everyone was shocked. They did not expect Lin Xian to have such a sword on him. Lin Xian waved the wind shadow sword. Terrifying sword qi swept out in all directions, crushing the void. Streaks of sword qi that were hundreds of feet long slashed forward quickly. The two sword lights intersected, and it was as if two furious dragons were roaring as they fought each other. In an instant, the sky was torn apart. The sword qi turned into a rain of light that scattered in all directions. Every strike could sink the earth, kill. On the other side, the elder of the Huang family in black armor also attacked. He was like a black god of war, walking in the void. Every step he took cracked the void. He punched out, and his fist, which was wrapped in black armor, rapidly enlarged. It was like a black demonic mountain, rapidly crashing over. Bam, bam, bam. Lin Xian wielded the wind shadow sword and stabbed it into the sky. Every strike caused the sky to tremble violently. It was as if the world was about to be destroyed. He fought against 2 Huang family elders by himself, waving out streaks of sword chi that caused people's hearts to tremble. Every time they collided, the sky would be torn apart. It was like a clap of thunder that fell in all directions. Everyone was hit by the shock waves. Their bodies trembled, and many people quickly retreated with blood flowing out of the corners of their mouths. This young man is too terrifying. Many people were shocked. Impossible. This is impossible. As for the Huang family disciples, their faces were filled with disbelief. 2 of their elders were wielding top spirit step treasures, but even after joining forces, they still weren't able to defeat this young man. This was just too shocking. They couldn't accept it. This child is incredible. When he grows up in the future, he will definitely defy the heavens. An older generation figure-sighed in admiration. Hong Wuji clasped his hands behind his back and glared at Lin Xian. Humph, ignorant. Lin Xian sneered. When he was attacked just now, he did not hesitate to use the shadow of the Red Lotus armor to block all the attacks. That was why he looked unharmed. However, it was really dangerous just now. If he did not have the Red Lotus armor, he would have been in danger. When he thought of this, Lin Xian's face darkened. You're done attacking. It's my turn now. The voice was cold, and it was like a god of death walking out from the void. Countless blood vessels surged and wrapped around the wind shadow sword, forming a scarlet light. He held the killing sword in his hand and walked forward step by step. With every step he took, the aura on his body became stronger and the murderous aura became denser. In the end, a boundless sea of blood condensed around him, and a terrifying illusion appeared. Damn it! Stop right there! The white-haired elder and the elder in black armor were horrified. They quickly moved to stop the other party. The purple sword light and the black fist quickly swept through the void and blasted towards Lin Xian. However, in the next moment, red lines appeared in front of the crowd and formed a huge shadow of the armor. It blocked in front of Lin Xian and blocked all the attacks. Lin Xian sneered and walked over step by step. He never stopped walking, and the rhythm of each step did not even change. He walked confidently and calmly towards the elder of the Huang family. In the next moment, he raised the long sword in his hand and quickly stabbed at the white-haired elder. You're courting death, the white-haired elder roared and waved his purple sword. Countless purple sword lights surged out like a purple waterfall and surrounded him in the air, forming a solid defense. However, all of this was useless. Lin Xian's murderous intent and attack power were at their peak, and those purple sword lights could not stop him at all. The blood-colored sword light fell and cut everything in front of it in half, including the body of the white-haired elder. With a clench of his hand, Lin Xian took the elder's storage ring. Then, the blood sword vibrated and formed a suction force that sucked all the essence and blood of the dead, white-haired elder. After doing all this, he turned to look at the elder in black armor. You're tuning into the Mystic Fist YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.